A quick word of warning about this recording. It was massively disrupted, the live show, when we were recording it, and we've tried to cobble together as best we can a show. Some bits that were clicky and everything have been removed. It's going to be a bit disjointed at parts and jump around a bit. There are long stretches where it's all completely competent, but we were plagued with something which basically meant that I was in and out of the studio like a fiddler's elbow at certain points, and certain parts of the transmission didn't go out. Fortunately, we had another recording, but that's been edited down to this. So if you bear that in mind, away we go. Monica Schaefer is the guest in hour 3. I sometimes go quiet because I wasn't there. Yes, kicked out of your own show. What are things like? Anyway, here we go. Paul English Live 145. Have fun. Hi everyone, welcome. Just gone 1 minute past. We're starting a whole minute earlier this week. I don't know why. Maybe all this heat has warped the clocks. It's maybe warped all the clocks. Are you warm? We're all a little bit warm and sweaty here, aren't we? So let's have a real nice, warm, sweaty evening together. This is Paul English Live 145. I'm here with some roustabouts and things. Here's the show. Let's have fun. Loving the heat, aren't we? And we're always talking about weather here anyway, but we've got so much weather to talk about. Actually, we don't. We just talk about the heat. But interesting things happening in London with electric buses. Well, one interesting thing anyway. Wide open here as well, by the way. The other day a bird flew in. No, not one of those birds, a feathered bird. How about that? Very scary. Well, amusing actually. I hope you've all got your beach shorts on today. I do. Mind you, I have them on just about every day, so it's not too interesting, is it? And I also went to the beach today, so at least I'm matching the two things up. It's so sillily hot. It's fun. I am actually quite liking it, to be quite honest. I thought, I'll go out for a long walk today, and then after about 25 minutes, I thought, I think I'll make it a short walk. Panting like one of those old dogs in those sort of cartoons and heat of the midday sun. That was about 2 o'clock. So I hope you're warm wherever you are. They keep telling us that we're all going to die and explode. Of course, it's absolutely ridiculous. But there you go. I mean, the climate people are probably having a little bit of fun with that. I hope you've seen today's image as well. I saw those people on my walk, and then I sketched that up. I got back, got my crayons out, my paints, and I knocked that up this afternoon and just thought I'd put it out as the show image, which seems to me appropriate. So it's like that. It's all jolly and English down here. Men, fat men, smoking cigars, and lots of people eating ice creams. Actually, that's not true. I went out looking for an ice cream van today and couldn't find one, which is a bit disappointing, frankly. Now, one person who's probably not been down at the beach and not been looking for ice creams, although you never can tell, is Eric von Essex. Eric, hello. Good evening. Welcome to the show, Eric. How are you doing this evening?
Well, absolutely sweltering hot, but apart from that, I mean, the room that I'm in is 30.4 degrees, so it's a little bit warm, but apart from that, it's very, very nice. And I like the heat. So I'm one of these people that likes heat. I don't like cold very much. But if you are very, very boiling hot, a little tip, and I got this from Aunt Sally, believe it or not, and I've modified the recipe. Get yourself an avocado, mash it up, 2 preferably, then I put cocoa powder in, but she puts cocoa in, some squeeze of a lemon, and some xylitol, if you don't like sugar or don't want sugar. Put about 5 spoonfuls of xylitol in, mix it up, shove it in the fridge, wait until it gets cold. Absolutely unbelievable. It's fantastic, and it does you good at the same time. And it's well worth it. So and it's better than any ice cream, and it's health providing. It settles your stomach.
Better than ice cream.
That's right. And I can tell you something. The cocoa, I don't know what it is, but it gives you chronic flatulence.
But, Eric, I thought everything gave you a chronic flatulence. I don't see what's remiss there.
It does.
Does
I'm
it
a big
really?
stink I'm a big stink around where I live. You know.
You're the big stink in the local area.
Yes.
I think. I did have an avocado for lunch today.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I've eaten today. This is all very, very boring. What have you eaten today, dear listeners? What have you eaten? Have you eaten much? Is your appetite subdued? Mine is, which is probably a good thing. What did I have for breakfast? Oh, I've already written about this copiously. I wrote a whole novelette in the Telegram group this morning. I actually had a toasted panini, and on one half of it, there was a lot of Marmite. I'm really into Marmite at the moment. I realised about 3 weeks ago I'd not eaten it in years. I got it, and I'm just going, oh, this is so fantastic. So one half had Marmite and the other half a banana. I love banana on toast. It's really pretty cool, actually. So that was my breakfast with percolated coffee, which was very, very nice. I'm mastering the art of the percolator in the house. It's just a matter of getting quantities right, percolation time, the amount of water. It's not particularly difficult, but, slowly but surely you get it just how you want it. And of course, I have been insisting around here to both of my sons that the coffee percolator is the only way to go. Of course, you might dispute that out there, dear listeners. You might have some exotic technique for making it, or have invested £2,500 in your own cappuccino machine. Jolly good luck with that. But they're beginning to come round, because I'm getting comments like, oh, that smells so good. I said, yes. I said, because it percolates for 10 minutes and it fills the kitchen with that lovely coffee smell, and that's going to make it taste better because it's been going up your nose. And it's smoother and it's just great. So the first few I made were a bit too weak, fortnightly as it were. But I'm slowly getting there with the whole thing. And anyway, it's like gold dust is the coffee powder. I mean, the coffee grains, it's freshly ground coffee. And I mainly got my nose in the bag like a horse, snooking it all day long going,
oh, yes.
Ooh, you remember that smell?
I remember that smell.
Wonderful.
And I tell you, Aldi coffee is quite good compared with the Italian coffee. They're quite good at it. But a percolator, now they're as rare as rocking horse poo, because they were very big in the 60s and 70s, but you can't find an actual percolator that goes blob, 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 blob now. I would look on eBay. They're few and far between. Did you get yours new or from a Oxfam or somewhere? Or?
I think I just ordered it online. Actually, I probably got it from Amazon because I'm a lazy pig, right? So that seems quite likely. Pardon?
You're lucky to get it, actually, because you don't get many percolators now.
Well, I got a little bit obsessed the other day. I typed in, what are the best percolators one can buy? Because I'm actually not satisfied with the design. I mean, I'm not, Eric. And I'll tell you what is dissatisfactory. It makes the right noise and it makes plenty of coffee and the coffee's good. So what's to complain about? Well, it could make even more coffee. The spout is too wide and open. And I'm losing lots of coffee in the coffee steam that's coming out of the spout. You know how coffee pots used to have a curled spout and it'd be very small at the end? And what happens is, as the steam travelled up that spout, some of it had sort of stopped turning into steam and trickled back in. So I'm losing too much coffee, and I'm furious about it. I thought, the guy bloody designed that right. I'm sure. Anyway, I went off and looked for percolators that were completely sealed, and you can get them. They weren't inexpensive, though. The first one I found was £140. And it's got a vice. Was I droning on about this last week? I probably am. I get stuck on a topic for weeks on end, and I'll be talking about coffee probably till August or something. Sorry, everybody. But it looked fantastic. It's a bit like a pressure cooker. You know, that big clasp and that sort of thing. Yeah. Just like that. Very similar. And it basically recycled all the stuff. So it had a way of dealing with the pressure. Otherwise, you'll have an exploding coffee canister, I guess, in your kitchen or something. You don't want that. Even if it might smell nice, that would be a bit grim. But, so there are competitions and there are awards for the best one and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a gas hob percolator guy. Don't want an electric one. Not interested. Don't like them because it's all too efficient and timey and goes. I don't want that. I want to sort of bugger it up myself. Do you know what I mean? I like just putting the pot on and I just go. I'm going to shovel that amount in and we're going to see what we get, and it's more fun that way. So
I'll tell you the worst thing, and it was invented by a woman apparently. Those bloody plunger things where you put the coffee in the bottom, and you have to wait 5 minutes and
It
put
was
the plunger
invented
down.
by a woman.
And it was invented by a woman. And if the coffee's cold by the time...
Sorry, ladies.
People say, oh, put a cloth round it. Yeah, but it's bleeding cold by the time you have your coffee. But I've actually got myself a stainless steel gizmo that you put on top of your cup, and you put your coffee in and pour hot water through it, and it filters through. And it cost me a fair bit of money, £4.95 off of eBay. And it's good because it's stainless steel. And you clean it out with your finger. It's very, very clean, very, very good. I put the coffee on the garden because slugs don't like coffee, apparently. I think they prefer tea, but
They like Earl Grey on a morning, don't they?
That's right.
They like some nice Earl Grey of a morning. Yeah.
But no, seriously, that's my sister bought a percolator when she first started work. And that must have been in the 60s. And this was a fantastic percolator. It had a glass dome at the top, and you could see the coffee going into the glass dome as it sort of percolated, and you had this beautiful smell throughout the house. Anyway, she took it with her when she got married, and I've never seen one like it since. It's a gorgeous one, it really is. I've looked around the charity shops and everywhere. You just can't.
Did you tell her? Did you say you've got a gorgeous one? Is that what you said to her? That's what I want to know.
We don't speak.
Right. Okay.
The first time I took breath on this earth.
Yes. You did say this. I don't think you should say this all too often, because I think you're invoking it, and it's just going to. But yes.
My sister said
it's not a good start.
It's a boy. Oh no! It was and she hated me from that day on. So there we go.
If only she knew. If only she had known that you were going to evolve into Lord Fockham.
Yes.
Maybe she would have had a different response. If only she knew that sort of, a duchyship or whatever it is was imminent for her. But no, you see, people, they open their mouths, they say things, they come to regret them for the rest of their days. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It really
Duchy
is.
of Fockham.
Yeah. Now, what's today? Today's Thursday. Of course, I know that. It's a sort of rhetorical idiot question that I like to ask. It's Thursday, isn't it? So did the oaf leave on Monday, just 4 days ago? Because I think the heat's addled my brain and I've lost all track of time.
I think it was Monday, but they always say the same things, and that is the country is in a better state than when I entered office. Every bloody time they say that. If that's not a delusion, I don't know what is. Thatcher said it. Blair said it. They all say it. The country's now in a far better state than when I entered office.
Well, it's true. Here he is. Here's his speech saying stuff.
I want to thank the brilliant Number 10 staff and our country's extraordinary civil service who dedicate their lives to public service. And when I leave the biggest job in the country, I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife Fig, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad, and being the best dad I can to my beautiful children, who are my pride and my joy. Thank you very much.
Oh, shut up, you tart!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark Anthony, who kindly sent in the appropriate clip. I think they edited that stuff out when they did the live broadcast. I mean, that's just the response. No one cares about him at all. It is. No. I mean, he can't appeal to us in the slightest. He's just a complete fake. It's a tragedy, really, for him as an individual, but it's an even bigger tragedy for the country that he's knackered so much. But he's in a long chain. You've heard this thing, haven't you, floating around? How many prime ministers have we had in the last 10 years? 7 or something.
Yeah, and a Number 10 cat has seen 7 prime ministers in its lifetime.
He's outlived all of them. He's spent more time in Number 10 than all of them put together. Yeah. Well done. So if you want to run the country, be a cat.
Yes. And he picks up the bleeding wall and gets away with it. So there we go. But really, have you noticed the fake tears? I think Blair's wife was really good at it. But she mistimed it once. Do you remember that when she went, you got to have the bottom lip quivering. And, I mean, the acting is fantastic. I can just imagine them, before he did that speech, you got this sort of effeminate theatrical agents said, and no, lovey, no, I want you to just bottom lip quiver, remember, and then just break the words to make it look sincere that you're sad, okay? Go. No, you ain't got it right. I can just imagine them going over and over and over again. Because it's just an act. That's all. It's bullshit. He couldn't give a shit about the country. He couldn't give a shit about anything else. You know?
No, I think you're right. Well, I don't know. It's just he's done his job, right? Yeah. He's done his job. He's got his lines. He's played his role. He's acted the fool because that's all he could act. I mean, I was listening to somebody today saying, he's a lawyer, right? I'm just using the word loosely here because that profession's going to have no respect very soon as well. The way that everything's literally caving in. Being a judge and a lawyer, it doesn't command any respect now. In fact, quite the opposite. And but it turns out he wasn't even really a proper lawyer. He didn't sort of argue commercial cases or criminal law. He was an international human rights lawyer. In other words, he was just another sponge sucking at the teat.
Well, I think you could describe him as a lawyer's writ. There's a little bit of Cockney rhyming slack there.
Yes, I think you could. I think you could.
Yes, he was definitely a lawyer's writ.
And of course, although I've droned on about this before, and here I am droning on about it in a very brief way, I think, unless it kicks off into a big sort of thing, I'm still of the view that rights do not exist. How you can be a human rights lawyer? I mean, do people take all theirs into court and go, "You're offending my rights"? Well, they where are they? I mean, seriously, I don't get it. I know I'm sort of like being a bit of an arsehole when I speak about it like this, but I absolutely do not get it. I think there's a major problem with it as well. The minute you start to say that you've got rights, maybe we said this last week, but this is still a good point, I think. The minute you start to do that, you're already creating a space for an authority to assess whether your rights have been infringed or not. You've actually created another chain of assumed authority in your life. They don't exist, everybody. It's complete crap. The rights of everybody. You haven't got any rights at all. It's a nonsense, and it creates a victim culture. I am absolutely convinced of it. You've got duty to the law and to your family and your kith and kin. It's a completely different type of energy, and it works, and it's the thing that held us together. When did all these rights nonsense come in? I guess during the the Americans droned on about them, didn't they, quite a bit? And we've even got this thing called the Bill of Rights, and I know it's supposed to help us, and it probably does, but I ain't got any. And if you think I do, you can have mine. I'll send them to you in the post. You show me what they are. I'm literally clueless on it. I always have been. It turns out as well, Eric, I'm not alone. Not that I've looked at it recently, but about 6 months ago I was banging around in this, and it said there's a whole body of people that basically just do not think that rights exist. And I'm going, that's me.
No.
And I'm not going to think about it too much more because I just don't get it in my gut. I don't get it.
Yeah, but people have needs, but not necessarily rights. That's the thing. We have needs, but not rights. And you're right. I might not be. We probably need somebody on here to sort of bend my ear a bit, and I'm quite open to that. But don't you think the word rights is pretty close to that word entitlement? Yes.
I
This
do.
is the problem. We've got people think they're entitled to things.
Absolutely,
the people that are
they
generally
do.
entitled to things like war veterans and veterans generally, they don't get it, and it's the mumpers that come in on a rubber boat that get it, not the people that deserve it.
Because there's a human authority system that's doling it out, right?
Yeah.
You go, well, you got to go into this court thing or see this thing, and we'll give you some rights, or we'll protect your rights. Who are you? I didn't even invite you. I haven't even got any. What is this scam that's going on? And I think, when people say, I have a right to freedom, I don't know what they're talking about. It's all, the only things that you've got, you earned. Didn't you? Or am I thick? I am probably thick. I don't know whether I'm thick on this one or not, but
the only right, the thing is, if you live by natural law or common law, that's all you need. Do not cause injury, loss, or harm. That's all. That's it. You don't need bozos making out statutes all the time, stopping you from doing this, stopping you from doing that. If someone comes along and says you said some hurty speech, you say, well, have I broken common law? Injury, I haven't injured anybody, I haven't caused loss, I haven't stolen or harm to anybody. And sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. So that's the thing. This is the problem. And when you haven't got freedom of speech, someone somewhere is trying to cover something up. Because surely truth doesn't fear being cross-questioned and looked at and investigated. Only lies do. So all they're really saying is, you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say that. Why? Because you're lying. Because
Can you get on the mic a little closer, Eric? I'm giving you a full gas.
How's that? Is
that's
that
a bit too much. That's just halfway between. Yeah, that's great. Sorry, I just want to get it up. Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Right.
Thank you.
That's it. And no, that's the problem. There's an old saying: if you what was it now? If you want to know who controls you, look at who you're not allowed to criticise. Yeah. That's all I'll say on the matter.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely... Well, we might say a bit more of it. The night is but young, and we're sweating profusely. I hope you're wearing... I'm wearing a string vest, of course, and I've got a bottle of warm pale ale on the table here.
Excellent.
And a newspaper, and I've also got my handkerchief on my head with little knots tied in the corner.
Perfect. That's absolutely perfect.
I hope all the gentlemen at home are dressed in a similar fashion. Remember, it's a hot English day,
yes.
and you've got to be dressed like that. Maybe you've got braces on, but you must have the string vest, and there've got to be parts of the string vest that have been worn out, so there's little holes in them, so you look really like a frayed old dog.
And the stains. You've got to have the stains. That's the most important thing. Gravy, tomato ketchup, that type of thing. Plus socks, sandals, and sock suspenders. You see, that's the thing. That is the Englishman abroad. Socks, sandals, and sock suspenders.
It's the classic 1970s look.
That's right.
It really is. It's 1976 all over again.
Smoking a pipe.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they saying that today or the last couple of days have been the hottest ever? I mean, they do feel pretty hot. But then I thought, well, it was pretty hot in 1976, but then I am an old fart. And I should imagine if you were born after that.
I remember that.
Stop banging on about 1976, you boring old fart.
1976, I remember when it was so hot that tarmac melted on the roads.
Oh, those were days.
And also, there was a roundabout near where I used to live where it was like a tinderbox. And how it started to smoke or smoulder, I do not know. It might have been someone's throwing a cigarette out the car. We just don't know. But anyway,
we don't know
because there was a shortage of water. The fire brigade got there. The police were there first, so they were trying to put it out with their feet, and it looked really funny. I only wish that it's a shame that what do you call it? We got cameras now. We didn't have cameras in those days that you could take with you because it looked funny. It looked as if they were doing a dance. There's all going all this dumping up and down.
I like the idea of a fireman's dance. That looks good.
And police, they're all doing all this like shuffle.
They wouldn't do that these days, would they?
No.
They wouldn't do that these days.
Health and safety wouldn't allow it. You'd have to put it out with water or piddle on it or something,
I guess we would, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you remember when the Indians came over and did a rain dance at Heathrow and it rained? And I remember that people saying,
bloody troublemakers.
Yes.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, they had a witch doctor, didn't they, at the World Cup the other day for the Ghana team. I don't watch the matches or anything, but the sort of the knock-on effect in the news reports is actually far more interesting. Like I was saying last week, the Scots had drunk all of Boston dry. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but apparently they'd drunk literally rivers of the stuff. But they won't be drinking it much more because they're coming home again. So it's a pity, really. I think probably most Americans will be quite sad to see them go. I quite like the idea of Scotsmen in kilts. I used to spend many a social evening with them. Of course, I couldn't wear a kilt because I'd have had my head hacked off. You can't do that sort of thing. It's very important, and I think it should stay important in that way. But so they're coming back.
Well,
and England, the team called England. I have to get my phraseology right. The team that's called. They played Ghana the other day in an absolutely spectacular 0-0 draw. I did not watch it. I just read the reports afterwards, Yawn Fest or whatever. But they had a witch doctor, apparently, did Ghana. This is quite interesting, who supposedly had cast a spell on Harry Kane so that he wouldn't score a goal. So obviously, witchcraft works, everybody. It's so maybe in a few weeks' time we can have a voodoo issue of the show, and we'll try and get him on or something. We'll see if we can cast spells. I don't know. I I
cast smells. I can cast a smell, but not a spell.
I'm shocked to hear such a thing, Eric. Yes. I'm shocked.
Especially today after the avocado and cocoa. That really does. That mixture is like rocket fuel to me. So there we go. But do you remember the, what was it now? Was it Jamaica or West Indian? I think it was the Jamaican bobsleigh team. Do you remember them? There's a film made about it.
With John Candy. With the wonderful John Candy, who left here far too soon. I love John Candy. Absolutely wonderful.
Oh,
it is.
Brilliant.
The Trinidad and Tobago toboggan team, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
And I liked it when those going around. I go, what? They were laughing their bloody heads off. But I still think that English bloke, what was his name now? Eddie the Eagle. He was the classic. He was the bloke who was complete amateur, didn't have a clue, and the cameras are all on him. And every time you see him being carried off on a stretcher. He certainly had guts, didn't he? I mean, let's face it.
He did. Hey, by the way, we're 25 minutes in, and I've not even done the old... Because, it's warm. Okay, so my brain's not working properly. It's pathetic, isn't it? But it's true. So shout out to everybody that's listening. Hi, everyone. We've got listeners on WBN 324. We're here with you for the next hour and 35 minutes through to 10 o'clock here in the UK. We've got listeners on Food for Thought Radio, a goodly number. So shout out to them. And I'm looking at all the chats because we've got a chat room on FFT Radio. We've got a chat room in YouTube, and it seems to be streaming properly. And we've got a chat room in Rumble. And that, too, seems to be streaming strongly. I nearly got muddled there. So shout out to you all. It's great. And I've got all the chats up here, and if I can be bothered to look at them and you say something interesting, I might speak out. Yeah, if you want to kick me and say, Paul, say this as well, remember, you can always call in, everybody. It's always nice to get a call. You can talk about anything. Seriously, it's a warm summer's day. And what do you normally talk about on a warm summer's day? Whose round is it? That's usually the thing, isn't it? Sorry, Eric, you were about to say something.
No, it's okay. I was chiming in. I'm sorry, no, it's my fault. I was chiming in. Mike Mantis says, I'm sweating more than an MP having his hard drive checked. And apparently Hereditary Get Fucked is the culprit, attaché. Said Tobruk in World War II exceeded 44 degrees centigrade. Tin hat, shorts, no problem. Yeah. Oh, and they had socks as well.
Of course.
Yes.
It's a nothing burger. Have you heard? I mean, the fact that you just realise how, at first I thought, well, not at first. At first I thought, it sounds like an opening to a song, doesn't it? That this was just an isolated bunch of maniacs embedded in the media. But I think it's like a disease. It's spread through everywhere. All of them. All of these organisations are just full of the softest lumps of blubber. Oh, you've got to watch out for the... Look, it's just called common sense. Of course, you could say that there has been a massive downscaling of that, and I suspect that that's true. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, but nevertheless, do you need to be told to drink water, Eric, when you're thirsty? Well, Eric, drink some water. Oh, thank you, Paul, for telling me. Yeah. If you hadn't have told me, it would never have occurred to me. I would have just, died.
I've deliberately not been out on my bike, which might have been okay. But the trouble is, I've had heat stroke, and believe me, it's not fun. I had that once when similar to weather to this. I came back on my bike, and just when I got in, I just collapsed. The next thing, I was on the floor. Because heat stroke, it does affect you.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun, and I'm much more careful with the sun now as I move into my seasoned years. My great sunstroke story is 1974, so this is 2 years before the great thing. So I'm 14, and our entire family, like a bunch of Northern Herberts, go down to Cornwall, where the weather was spectacular. Right, really was, and it took us a couple of days to get there because we're in this tiny little car. So I think we drove a couple of 100 miles, stopped overnight, and then drove another couple of 100. We had a great holiday in the end, but at the beginning it was not so much fun because, like idiots, we just went down to the beach and we were in the sun all day. Right, and all of us, dear. Not even noticing, just so exhilarated to not be in the car after 1.5 days. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was all that kind of stuff. We got back to the thing, and the people at the hotel looked at us and said, "You may have overdone it on the sun." My dad was the colour of a beetroot. My mum had got a lot of sun, and the next morning, we're all sick. My mum got up and fainted. She had heat stroke, which caused my dad to almost have a major panic attack, which I thought was going to take him as well. For the rest of the holiday, me and my brother just went round mimicking that event like cheeky little lads. So, it was terrible. We were really... Actually, we all recovered in the end. We all came back with a brilliant tan. And we all looked like the people from Trinidad and Tobago. It was great. But yeah, that was really goofy. So once bitten, twice shy. Anyway, don't use suntan lotion. I guess everybody knows that because it's probably carcinogenic garbage. I think the idea is just to wear cotton and linen. And there's a thing called shade. It's actually really cool, is the shade. Yes. And that's what
I'll tell you
do,
something else.
Yeah.
My legs are pale white and they remain.
Oh, that's a worrying thought.
In the sun. So, anybody got any ideas?
Get that image out of my head. Your legs, Eric. Yes, go on. Sorry.
Not a pretty sight. I'm in shorts, and my legs are as white as anything. But Alice Gordon says, "I'm a lady. I perspire, darlings." No, you don't actually perspire, because when I was a kid, I said, "I'm sweating," and the headmistress the squirrel went, she said, sweat, horses sweat, gentlemen perspire, and ladies glean. So, Alice, you are gleaning. Have you ever
I thought the word was glow.
Glean, I thought it. I better look that up. I'm sure she's...
Look it up. There's an argument here in the show. It's terrible.
Yes.
It's words at dawn. I thought women glow.
Hang on. Glean.
Because I thought the word glean meant to acquire an understanding of. If you glean a thing, it means that you comprehend it. But I could be wrong, and I don't have my thesaurus here.
It's just glean typically refers to the common verb meaning to gather or collect information bit by bit.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Hang on, let's look up.
Alice has been glowing, but then she glows every week here on this show, doesn't she? Along with all the others. You know, we don't want to just pick Alice out. Yes. Although I just did, which of course is terrible.
People have seen bits of my anatomy. The other night, I think it was Alice that mentioned about my arms. I mean, not a pretty sight. My arms poking out of my shirt. Well, this Monday I may show my leg. Not a pretty sight, but yes, it's an English one, a hairy leg, but unfortunately pure white, even though it's in the sun all bleeding day. Why it is, I do not know. So there we go. Rest of me's going brown, but not my legs. So. Yeah.
By the way, just to let you know, I'm just scanning the chats. I've got this wonderful system now. I know I'm a bit anal about these things, but I've got all 3 chats on one tab on my browser. Pretty cool, actually. I'm looking at all 3 of them. Anyway, Billy has entered the saloon. That's over in the FFT radio chat. Plug, plug, plug. I know you're all habituated to your Rumble and YouTube habits and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, got to keep pounding away. Anyway, he's entered the... He comes out with a rather firm statement here regarding Mr. Starmer. He says, I hope Starmer thinks he can go on a speaking tour so he can get tarred and feathered at each town. What a nice thought, Billy. What a nice thought. But not inappropriate given his behaviour. And of course, if he qualifies for that, so do many others. Many others qualify for that kind of nonsense.
I think, as you mentioned some time ago, that we need a political party that could never be elected. And
I think we're going to get one that could be elected, though. I have been... I'm going out. Oh, Hank, bloody hell, everything's connecting.
Yes, you just went...
Okay, so that was, let me just check everything. Sorry about that. That's called an internet problem here. We've been having a few, and I think it's to do with the heat, to be quite honest. Have you had any dropouts? I'm serious. I know it sounds pathetic.
Well, my iPad wouldn't work properly today. It just kept freezing up because it was so... Well, not freezing up. It was just the heat, I think, had affected it. And I was trying to show my neighbour some things on my iPad, and it just wouldn't... The bloody thing wouldn't work. It just wouldn't have it. So...
Yep. Sorry about that. That's called a technical trouser issue that not even I, with my very long arms, can solve. That's just one of those things. In fact, Callie's show yesterday on FFT in the morning, she couldn't do a show at all because she lost complete internet access. And she sent me a message today, so no doubt she's all warm and doing whatever she's been doing today. I don't think she'll be listening to the show because she hits the hay pretty early. But they're having to refit their...
Apparently, Paul English is having connectivity issues. He's actually dropped out of the studio, but I expect him to be back shortly. We're going to let this ride for a little bit, but if he continues cutting out, we'll just cut the show short on Global Voice Network, and we'll be able to go on and do whatever it is that we do when we're not listening to either the Radio Ranch or Paul English Live. Hold on just a moment. Hopefully he'll be back shortly and we'll be able to continue. Well, he has not come back yet, so we'll give it about another minute and see if he does. Therein lies the problem with the single point of failure of a single internet connection handling multiple streams and multiple rooms of people. And this is a problem that I have struggled with doing the Radio Ranch as one single point of failure. I mean, somebody drives a backhoe through my fiber optic cable. I mean, the show goes down and there's really nothing anyone can do about it. And I had been hoping that I'd be able to move the program to the cloud So if my internet connection went down, at least the show could continue, though my part of it would not be there. But anyways, apparently Paul hasn't done that yet. But he's set up so many other things that, we're going to give him a pass on that little point.
YouTube, and I call it buffering when the little thing is spinning, but evidently, and I'm going to say it's someone from over there, and they call it spooling like fudge here.
Yeah, we call it buffering. Spooling is like print spooling would be, sending data to a printer before it actually finishes the spool and then starts printing the document. It means the same thing. But I don't know. I'm sure I would expect YouTube and Rumble and everything else to go dark, because if Paul himself doesn't have an internet connection to be in the studio, then he would also not have a connection to keep any of the streams running. So it's just one of those things you deal with. It's no fun. How are you today, Lisa?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I was off busily doing things, and all of a sudden I hear the program go dark, and I'm sprinting back to the computer to see if it was something I did or something someone else did. But apparently it was someone else.
Yeah. The heat wave in England.
Yeah, apparently. It's beautiful here. I was expecting rain today, but it never showed up. So
Really? We got rain earlier, and then it rained a little bit, probably about an hour and a half ago, and that made it humid.
Yes.
The last shower made it kind of humid.
Yeah, you just gotta love it when that happens. It rains just enough to get like the roads and the sidewalks wet, and then the sun comes out and it immediately vaporizes that stuff that just hit the ground. It didn't rain enough to cool the ground off or the sidewalks off, so they were still warm and immediately just start evaporating. We just gotta love that. Well, it looks
Hello,
like...
Eric. Are you there?
I'm still here, yes. How is things?
I've just rebooted my entire machine, so let's just see what we can do. Sorry about this.
That's okay.
Okay, so... Okay, we're back out here on FFT Radio. We are back. I don't know how long this is going to last. I've no idea what's going on, Eric. I don't think I've had something like this. It's totally out of my control, this stuff.
I think it might be the heat, actually.
Well, there's definitely something going on, because there's something a little bit weird here.
I'll put down, we're back, folks.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're back on FFT. Or should be, I think. We're going to be. Let me just hold on here. Right, we should be back on the other thing momentarily. Let me just give it a go.
Let's see. You can't hear us on Rumble, so we're not.
No, they can't yet. Hang on, just a minute.
Today's show might have just been 1 hour, and that's it. Well, actually, we didn't even make it a full hour. And he is back.
Hi, Eric. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, yeah. I'm just having to check round to see if you're on...
It's all right, you don't need to. I can tell you here. So let me have a look. So we're going to clean on... Yeah. And we're going out on FFT radio, so sorry about the little gaps. And the indicators are now that we're not streaming on Rumble because it won't let me. Oh, I know why. Because it's a dynamic link, and it won't do it because we've used it up. It's junk, is that thing. I bloody hate it. Let's give it one more go.
I know.
I'm getting so frustrated with this crap.
With Rumble, I have to have about...
hacked off with it.
Yeah, sorry, mate. My fault. I have to try about 3 or 4 times on my show to get it going before the show, and it never does it first time. It always just says
no. I've had enough. I can't. It doesn't matter what I use. I've got 6 different tools here to get the connection. I think it's going to do it. And I hate having these sorts of conversations in the middle of the show. How about that, everybody? Right. Okay, so let me just have a look. I'm sorry about this. Again, it's been every week for the last 4 or 5 weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I cursed it by saying it's working, says Mike Mantis. Yeah, thanks very much, Mike. You're absolutely right. I really did. But we are going out over... We're definitely going out over FFT radio. Okay, so we're doing that. And we should also be back on WBN if they're picking up the feed. So my apologies to all of you on WBN. I don't know what happens. Maybe they have an emergency stream kick in or they kick me off. It doesn't really...
Going quiet again?
Off he goes again.
We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube, I don't think. Let me just have one last check. Rumble won't have it, I don't think. Restreaming not possible because I'm... Right, so Rumble we've lost for good. I can't do anything about it. I'd have to rebuild a new broadcasting slot, which is going to take 10 minutes. So I can't be bothered. Oh, now OBS has crashed again. Okay, so... what I suggest you do, everybody... There's no way this is working. You notice I'm not that frustrated. I think it's because I'm absolutely knackered.
I'm similar. Actually, shall I put notice on Rumble, which I can still do, and just say please go over to YouTube because it seems to be Food for Thought Radio is back apparently. I don't know about YouTube, and no, YouTube is buffering, so YouTube's not working. I don't think. But Food for Thought Radio is back.
Hello, Eric, again. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I've just put out a message on Rumble.
What's it like having a stable internet connection? Because, this is... I'm showing full internet connectivity. I'm showing full bandwidth. And yet all the things I'm using are going down. And I'm sensing... sometimes I take Paul's paranoid tablets and I'm sensing a slight level of interference. I have no idea why. We're only talking about the bloody weather. Anyway, okay, well, we appear to be back up again. The recording of this is going to be an absolute joke. In fact, there might not be one, simply because it's in about 16 different bits. It'll take me about a day to put it all back together again. Do I sound slightly tetchy? I do a bit.
Don't worry. I've advised
I don't know what to do, Eric. It's
just
terrible. They're picking on me. I hate it. Bastards. Anyway, there we go.
I've advised everyone on Rumble to go over to Food for Thought Radio, as Paul can't get Rumble to work, so I put that on there. So I think there's still 16 viewers on Rumble.
I know, we had nearly 30. It's horrific, and you lose these people. I don't blame you for legging it either. Right. I would too. It's bloody irritating. I'm sorry about that, folks, but there's not much I can do.
And also YouTube's just buffeting all the time, apparently. So let's hang on. I'll just briefly put it on.
Okay.
Right. Hang on, it's working again. It's okay, it's working. I think YouTube's working now. So that should be okay. Now...
All right.
So we're all right there.
I think we're all back. I don't think we need to... I'm just checking things here. I think we're back. We should be back.
Oh, we're buffeting again, a bastard. Hang on.
Okay, right. I'm turning YouTube off as well. Because it's just... There's something not working right. So, YouTube's finished.
Oh, hang on.
Rumble's finished, which... No, I've turned it off, Eric. I'm not
working.
Yeah, I know. Nothing's been working. FFT's working now. I can see the signal going out.
Right, okay.
That's the most important one. So we're back on FFT, and that's that. So it is now.
I think it's gone to chits up. Now, let's have a look. Are we? Yeah, you're definitely on FFT. I can hear it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Right. Anyway, look, it's that was fun, wasn't it? Actually, that's not the right word. I can think of another word. Rhymes with rollicks.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
these things are sent to try us, but I have learnt something, and that
what
is
the
word is not glean; it's gleam. GLEAM. So I mispronounce what I said, you see. Because
It's not. Is it gleam?
Worms in a bucket.
What, ladies
It's gleam.
don't gleam?
Well, this is what John Possum Howell says. It's gleam.
No, he's wrong.
G-L-E-A-M.
They don't do that either. No, they don't do that either. They glow.
They
Ladies
sweat.
glow.
They sweat.
Horses sweat, men perspire, women glow, which is
They
quite
glow.
a nice word. Yeah, they do. They glow. Oh, you're glowing, my darling.
Yes.
Or is it, I would say, some big fat sweaty tart from up north or something like that? That was the other way in phraseology, but that's rude, and I would never say such a thing, particularly not on the radio. Anyway, look, if you're still with us, well done on your patience, because I was thinking of leaving as well and going to the pub, and I don't even go there. Actually, Eric, I've got 2 cold beers in the fridge. Really light ones. You know that Corona Mexican Spanish beer stuff?
Yes.
And I haven't drunk a beer for about 6 months, so I might drink one. I mean, I'd need one after that, wouldn't I? So,
Well, you would.
okay, if you're
and,
listening... yeah, sorry.
That's okay. What I was going to say is I'm generally teetotal, but I do have half a pale ale at this sort of weather before I go to bed, because it just knocks me out and lets me go to sleep. Because this hot weather, you can't sleep. So
Possum Hales round. John Possum Hales, Eric, has been swung round. He writes here in the FFT chat, which is the only one in town, everybody now. FFT radio chat. It's great that we've got it, actually. Yes. I'll buy that. They glow. Yes, ladies glow with a sweet, fragrant, feminine sheen or something like that. But they do. They glow. They also gleam. How do they gleam? I thought gleam was a cleaning agent. To make things gleam. Well, they do gleam, but not through perspiration or glowing. The glowing's not linked to the gleaming, is it, John? Or do you think it is?
Yes. Oh, well,
okay.
That's right.
By the way, we've also got some chunky new audio processing on FFT radio, which you probably wouldn't notice at all, but it has made it sound better. I'm just letting you know, Eric, as well. I got a lump of software the other day. That's not got anything to do with what's going on here, by the way. That's over on another machine out there pumping the signal out. It's nothing to do with here. But we're now going out and sounding even more brilliant and amazing than we normally do over YouTube and Rumble. So, yeah, I just thought I'd let you know. So, yeah. Anyway, where were we? 7 minutes to 8. It's been a brilliant first hour, hasn't it?
Oh, it's a bit
stunning.
like the demolition derby up my cul-de-sac, and it's not. It's no rock. There's no rock company rhyming slang there, but no. What I was going to say, I don't know if I've told you about this. There's a driver, I won't say who so far killed a neighbour's cat and almost written off 2 vehicles. Because when he comes around a cul-de-sac, he doesn't look where he's going. And so this is what I've been trying to do, repair my neighbour's vehicle after the demolition derby hit into it. So it's a street, or it's a cul-de-sac of damaged vehicles now. So there you go.
Damaged vehicles. I said everybody at the beginning, look, I can't talk about that. I'm not angry, actually. I'm just discombobulated. Half my brain's going, how the bloody hell did that happen? A bird flew into my studio the other day. Studio is a bit of a grandiose name for it, frankly. It's a shed. It's actually a radio shed. And it really is, actually. In fact, it's probably one of the world's greatest radio sheds. It's half radio stuff and half shed stuff. So it seems appropriate. And yeah, a sparrow flew in just as I was walking out. So I left the door up and said, be cleared off by the time I get back, lad. And it was. It left of its own accord. Sometimes they get a bit scared, don't they? Yeah, they do, and all that kind of stuff. We've had caterwauling seagulls, but none this evening, I'm afraid, to lend atmosphere. But we've had plenty of that with the meltdown of the internet here at this end for about 20 minutes. So that was a pain in the bum. By the way, I've not even mentioned, of course, that Monica Schaefer is going to be here in hour 3. Yes, I'm not being a lazy bar steward this week. We're doing 3 hours this week, if we can get through it. If we can stop leaking out of our clothes with all the moisture that's in the atmosphere.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
so Monica's going to be here. We're going to talk about the Holocaust and other things. No, we're not, Eric.
Yes, how to commit verbal suicide. Yes, just talk about that subject, folks, and you'll be.
I just thought, if everything's on, we might as well give it a go. There we go. By the way, just going back to all this sweating stuff, is obviously we've struck a chord here with all the ladies in the audience. Alice says that she does all 3. I don't know what that means. So does that mean she sweats, perspires, and glows. Or maybe she gleans and gleams as well. Maybe that's, I don't know. But it's definitely glowing. I don't think glean, as I said, is to acquire information. Gleam is a condition when you put brasso on silver, isn't it? And you polish it like mad, and then it gleams in the sunlight. That's correct,
Yes.
surely.
Yes.
Surely.
How weird. How strange.
It's strange. And maybe ladies just start shining in a resplendent fashion once they start to glow. I don't know.
We just don't know. But you had a sparrow in your office. I kind of like, I would like to have tits in my office, but they don't fly in. See, so I don't know why. It's
Eric,
probably
I
something
just
to do with
wondered
me.
if I think you've missed your vocation. You know those cheeky British seaside postcards, of
Yes.
which obviously today's
Bad
show
fault.
image, for those of you that could see it briefly while we were on YouTube and Rumble before everything went completely chests up. You've missed your vocation. You should be writing all those things. They're absolutely fab. I know there are people that collect them, and they've just got that. It's like Carry On, but with an extra layer of smut and smutty
Well, that's
innuendo
right.
all the time. They really are.
My dad
Yeah.
took a picture. I can't remember where it was now. It might have been Bournemouth, somewhere like that, of two nuns looking through salty postcards, because it used to be on racks outside the newsagents at the seaside. He
Right?
took a picture, and when he got the film back, because in the old days, when you had rolls of film, that one picture was blank. Isn't that strange?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
whether it was the developers that took it out, we just don't know. But you had a roll of film, I can't remember, was it 24 or 12?
Yeah.
And this was near the middle, and it went along. All the films, that one was blank, and it went along, and all the other pictures were taken perfectly. Isn't that weird? But that picture would have been, it would have made him a lot of money, because two nuns looking at saucy postcards, you don't find that every day, do you?
I don't know. Maybe that's Mildred, my dear. What's this? Oh, it's shocking. Mother
Yes.
Teresa or whatever it is. Look, Alice is causing confusion again. Hi, Alice. Great. So she's just written in and she says, no, I gleam, glow, new word, Eric, brace yourself, and
Yeah.
garner.
Gone.
Garner? Yeah. When you
That's
garner a thing, isn't that watching it or gathering up? Come on, everybody, get your dictionaries out. I can't, if I put... Yeah, to garner something, doesn't that mean to gather it or to comprehend a thing?
Wasn't that the bloke was in the Rockford Files?
Yeah,
Garner,
might have been.
wasn't it?
James Garner, yeah.
Yes.
I don't think she means she James Garners. I don't
And
know what
his
that would
real
even
surname
mean.
was Boomgarner. Boomgardner.
It means to gather into storage. I thought it did. It was something like gathering some... to gather into storage. And I suppose he did a lot of that. I'm choking on my nicotine again. What a drug addict I am. And why not? I suppose if you were garnering a lot of things into your doobry or whatever, you would end up, glowing quite a bit, wouldn't you? Anyway, Eric, I fancy a song. So could you sing us one? No, that was... I didn't really mean that. Okay. That was pretty good. Okay, look, this is a song from 1981 that I bet no one's ever heard this. This is by a band that no one will ever heard of either, called the Leroy Brothers. And if you've heard of them, you'll know how it's spelt, and it's not how you think, right? The Leroy Brothers, who I saw live in Camden Town about 1982 after they'd released this, and they were dreadful live. And the reason they were dreadful is they had too many amplifiers, the room was too small, and all the amps were turned up to 11. I couldn't hear a damn thing. It was ridiculous. This is called The Pretty
Leroy
Little
Brothers.
Lights of Town. And they are pretty, and they are little, and they're very nice. And it's a rinky-dink sort of... I don't know how you describe this. So I better not. We're going to listen to this, and we'll be back on the other side. See you in about 3 minutes. Cheeky little number.
I took my baby on the mountain just to watch the sun go down, go down. I took my baby on the mountain just to watch the sun go down. But her heart got stolen by the pretty little lights of town. She said, honey, don't you sparkle like bubbles in a glass of beer? Yeah.
had this feeling, man, because there's a handful of people actually run everything. That's true. It's provable. It's not I'm not a conspiracy nut. It's provable. Handful, very small elite run and own these corporations, which include the mainstream media. I had this feeling who's ever elected president, like Clinton was, no matter what your promises you promise on the campaign trail, blah, 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 when you win, you go into this smoky room with the 12 industrialist, capitalist scumfucks who got you in there, and you're in this smoky room, and this little film screen comes down, and a big guy in a cigar roll the film. And it's a shot of a Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before. It looks suspiciously off the grassy knoll. And then the screen goes up, and the lights come up, and they go to the new president. Any questions? Just what my agenda is. First we bomb Baghdad. You got it.
The great Bill Hicks there, and we are back. Yeah, fantastic. Did you like the tune? Were you bopping around and working up even more sweat and lather?
I've never heard of them, and I've never. But I lived through that era. But no.
Yeah, no, you won't. You ought to see my record collection. People come into my house to go, "Who are these?" I'm going, "Oh yeah, you don't know about them." No, I'm just sort of. It's a very esoteric record collection. It really is. I think that's the right word. Yeah. Anyway, it's full of bouncy stuff like that. I used to really like that sort of music because I hated disco. I mean, like really hate disco. Like really, really hate it. I hate heavy metal. Like exactly the same. And I was trying to find something orally for my head where men and women could dance, even though I was crap at dancing, right? But I had some musical substance to it, so I didn't want to throw up, which is what disco made me want to do. It's just the most vapid, vacuous piffle ever played. I hated it. So I felt robbed of every time that stuff would come on, because all the girls would trot off and start dancing around their handbags and things like this. And of course, I'm a bloke. I don't do that sort of thing. So I actually thought there must be a middle ground somewhere where you could find something that would be bouncing along and you might be able to get some of the girls to move. Of course, they're way better at it than us guys. We're just like oafs plodding around and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. There's an insight into my desperately pathetic outlook on music. Yeah.
Not many people know that.
Not a lot of people know that. They really don't. They really don't know that.
Well,
but yeah, sorry, please. Anyway, I thought the Bill Hicks thing was great. I mean, I'd not heard it for ages, and I've got a few more clips by him. Actually, I had to go and dig that one up. I've still got to recover a lot of the things that went down the toilet about a month ago. They haven't really fully gone down yet. I'm about to find out, actually. In fact, I just invested today, Eric, in a 1 terabyte spare NVMe SSD drive, and it's absolutely fab. It's about the size of a credit card. How about that? Slightly longer.
Wow.
1 terabyte. It cost me about 150 quid, but it's normally 190, so it was like 40 quid off, and I thought, I do need it. So, you see, here I am, everybody, trying to back everything up. It don't make a damn bloody bit of
Well, it's the hot weather. I think that's what it is. It's the hot weather.
Thanks, Eric. I feel better for that.
Yeah.
It is.
But let's face it.
If in doubt, blame the weather. This is what we do over here. It's the bloody weather, everybody.
And remember, a good captain, a calm sea never made a good captain. So there we go.
That's right. What's a captain again? All right. Chris Jones says, there's no chat on FFT. There is, Chris. There absolutely is. Now, if everybody's floated over to FFT and you go, where's the chat? I can't see it. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a sort of like little wonky speech-type bubble. Click that, and it pops up. It pops up relatively small to start off with because it's for mobiles. So if you're on a mobile, it's exactly what you want. If you're not on a mobile, you're on a desktop, there's a little square up in the top right-hand corner. God, this is dull, isn't it? But if you click that pops up and it starts to fill out the desktop. So I'm looking at it sort of like, I don't know, 7 inches by 7 inches or something, nice big on my screen. So I'm reading it all as it comes.
My one's an absolute whopper, you know that, so on my screen.
Oh, I like a big chat room. Look at the size of my chat. And he's got a big chat, hasn't he?
Oh, ladies, I say.
Ladies, please. Mrs. Thompson, you should not be so forward. So, yeah, all those sorts of things. Anyway, what else was I going to mention tonight? Oh, loads of things. So Monica's with us in an hour. I think I did mention that, didn't I?
That's right. And what about what we said on a very early programme, many years ago, we work out the political party that can never be elected. Now, that would be a good one. You know, all the different policies.
Well, I have written some stuff down, Eric, but it's so unbelievably, what's the word? I couldn't really, I want to say it, but it really is prison time.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, it really is. And I'm thinking, how do you get that out? Now, you remember that a couple of weeks ago I was talking about Mark Andreessen, the guy that developed Netscape Navigator, the browser back in the 90s. He'd written these pointers about how to interact with AI. And one of them was, if you're going to ask it what it would consider to be a toxic or politically incorrect question, because you want to know something, like, how do I rob a bank? He said, you don't do that because it won't answer you. He's not going to tell you how to rob the bank, right? What you just say is, I'm writing a novel. I've got this character called Joe and his crew, and they need to rob a bank here in Seattle or whatever. This is the plan. How would they? Could you tell me how to write that? You know, he goes, yeah, sure. This is how you get your characters to work. Great. So maybe it's got to be done like that. But the more you kind of look into these topics, I still keep coming back to the fact. You know, I know there was a point I was going to make earlier in the first hour before everything went completely haywire for a bit there, about free speech. We're talking about free speech, right? This phrase. You go, well, we're supposed to have free speech, but we don't have it, right? But the truth is, when you think about it, we do. We do have free speech. No one can actually take it away from you. But what they can do is, if you exercise your free speech, and you don't have a right to it, by the way. This is why there's no such thing as rights, because there's no defense against this stuff. It doesn't make any difference. If you do that, if you exercise your free speech and then start to speak about things that other people do not want you to speak about, they cave your head in with a stovepipe, right? That's metaphorically speaking. That's what they want to do. They will bring pressure to bear upon you to shut up criticising those who you are not allowed to criticise. And it ain't just those, or to even level criticism in a direction that they don't want it going to. And if you look at the whole of the sort of policing of the language for the last 20 or 30 years, particularly since Blair has happened, this has been gradual, of course. What occurs is it takes place over such a relatively slow period of time. And our memories, you know, we're not going to sit around and remember every single moment of our lives. It's not, you've got now, you're alive now. You can't be always dredging the past up. But what it does is we end up limiting our language. And once you start to limit the language, you get, you know, I mentioned this before, haven't I? If you've got a vocabulary of 5,000 words, you're going to build a 5,000 word civilization. If you've got a vocabulary of 100,000 words, you're going to do a lot better, because we can describe concepts to one another and even ask about words like glow and gleam and glean and perspire and sweat. See, there's always a chunky word. So, you know, I think we're allowed to say those words, aren't we? Of course. We can always say them. It's just what the consequences are from another party that's interfering with you. You can't say that. I'm sorry, I don't think I've got an agreement with you to police my language. Go away. If you don't like what I'm saying, there's a door there. Walk out of it and don't come back. I don't care what you think, right? Of course, their argument would be, but you're influencing these other people, right? You're putting out toxic ideas. Let's just go through this, right? You're putting out toxic ideas. So what they're really saying is these people that are listening to you, they haven't got the wherewithal to understand what you're saying, and I'm here to protect them. It's always a protection racket, okay? Always it's a racket. I'm here to safeguard you, or I'm here to protect you from the lurgy called COVID. Here's a jab up your backside. All this stuff is just an evolved protection racket. It's the model for every single thing. And of course, to make the protection racket work, the first stage is you have to induce fear and anxiety in the target. And that's what they do, isn't it? Isn't that really what they do? Don't you think? Oh no, I haven't lost Eric, have I? What's going on? I'm still here, but Eric's got the lurgy. Eric, where have you gone? You've got to come back.
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
what happened?
Good. Yes. I don't know.
Was it so boring what I was saying? You fell asleep, didn't you? I put you to sleep. Is that dull?
I don't know. It just sort of went. It just went. I didn't want to. But anyway, I'm back. Yes, I'm here. Yes, I got your point about, you know, the political party that could never be elected, but we could do a mild sort of version of it. You know, for example, the traitors. We could actually hang them using bungee rope over a sewer. That would be nice. So go boing into the sewer and out again, boing into the sewage, out again. That would be rather fun. Bringing fun back into life, you know, that type of thing. What else could we do?
I mean, look, I think that those sorts of reactions that we have, and everybody has them, don't you, you naughty people, in private, you know. Somebody sent me a brilliant one of Keir Starmer's resignation speech, and he's weeping and everything, and he's going off, but he's speaking in Arabic or something, and then as he walks off, he literally explodes like a suicide bomber, and it's so distasteful. And yet I found you can't have a twitch of empathy for him. You've got to remember what these people have done. And we are really weak at that. Have you noticed? We are willing to forgive almost instantly because we don't want any more trouble. And the other side is taking vicious advantage of that quality, which is a good quality. I'm not knocking it, right? It's an absolute good quality, you know? I
mean, who's been the greatest traitor since 1945? And the top runners are Churchill, Thatcher, Blair. There are other ones that I probably haven't thought about. Anybody else got any suggestions there? But I think Churchill was probably one of the greatest.
Ted Heath was up there.
Oh yes, I forgot about him. Yeah,
old Teddy, yes. And killing children, or at least harming children, or doing something on Morning Cloud. So the accusations go. I do not know the answer to that. I'm not accusing him of this. I don't know who's listening. Bloody hell! But you know. Blah blah blah. It's all
he's
that
dead,
kind of
so
stuff,
he can't sue us. So there's no
but the echoes of, you see, that those organisations that are still manhandling and controlling individuals through similar circuits. I mean, I don't know whether we're being set up or not, Eric. I mean, maybe we've been around this space, and maybe many of your listeners have as well. Too long, you end up becoming. It's not paranoid. It's like you're instantly suspicious of practically everything that you see, and I think it's certainly better than just swallowing it down. Oh, that must be true, of course. But I wonder whether we're now being played on that level or not. Sometimes it's very difficult to know exactly what the truth is around these things. Now, of course, the thing I tend to sort of calm myself down with is that even if I knew, what could I do about them? Not a lot, actually. These pigs want to behave the way that they behave. Our job is to gather people around us that don't want anything to do with that, and to expand that as fast as possible, or at least that's one way of putting it. There might be better ways, but that's one way of doing it.
Going a stage further, I mean, I think they're demonically possessed, and I think they're psychopaths as well. And I think the most humane thing we can do is, if they are demonically possessed and psychopaths, is to remove them from our society. I don't believe in capital punishment, but put them on an island that's got full infrastructure away from us, so they can live their life out and we can live our life out. But the fact of the matter is, they get pleasure out of human misery. They can't help it. They're born that way. So to do anything nasty to them, like hanging or capital punishment, I think is wrong, because it's a bit like hanging, a crocodile, because it tears someone's arm off. They're programmed to do that, and psychopaths are programmed to be, not all, but many psychopaths are programmed to be that way. They are naturally demonic. So put them away keep them safely away from us. They're dangerous to us. That's it. But not all psychopaths. Some help human beings. Some know they're like that, and some are okay. It's only the predatory ones, who are a very small percentage of them, that find their way into politics. So that's my little soapbox bit for tonight. So maybe I'm being a bit liberal there by saying separate them from us. Don't know. You know. But anyway, you still there, Paul?
Okay, we're back again. Sorry about this. You know what? I'm back. Just a minute. I can hear you, Eric. So can everybody else. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think American Paul's around. Is he in the studio, or is he somewhere else?
Yeah, no, he's around. I might bring him on, but so I've just had to shut something else down as well. I think we're back up and running. Good grief, this is so disruptive. It's very, very irritating. Okay, we're back. We're back on FFT. Sorry, again, whatever's been going on this evening. I mean, it's nothing compared to last week, by the way, Eric. We had, last Friday, I was on with Robin Hood and Gary Glendale on the Friday night show, which is The Merry Men. And we managed to stay reasonably merry, actually. But I think Robin was cut off in the broadcast about 24 times. It's absolutely ridiculous. It may well be... It could be interference. I mean, seriously, everything else on my machine is working. But when it comes to the connectivity with the internet stream, something's going a little bit... Anyway, look, let's not go into that again because we've done it already. What were we talking about? We were talking about something.
As I say, it could be a 77 Brigade or something like that. Because
I don't care who it is. I can't stop it. So I hope they're having a nice time. We were talking to them before. I mean, it's a sad life if that's what's going on. I hate talking like this because it's like, no, Paul, it's because you didn't throw that switch. But this is a bit weird. Never had an evening like this. It's really a little bit weird. The other ones, by the way, have all been my fault, right? All of them, to do with the way that it's set up. But this is nothing to do with me. Anyway, whatever.
It could just be an innocent thing like the heat. Might be. I mean, I couldn't understand it. Why? I was showing my neighbour something interesting on my iPad, and it just wouldn't react. It's never done that before, so it could be just the heat.
Yeah, Alice tried to catch the show on Friday and says that show was bonkers. It was absolutely mad. Now, we're hoping we won't get the same thing tomorrow night, but let's not talk about that because that's coming up tomorrow. We were talking about something really interesting before we got chopped off again.
Well,
what were we on?
The political. We were talking about Teddy.
Oh, yeah, about saying certain things and stuff. And it's whether we can get these points across. I mean, I keep writing stuff and then I read it and it satisfies me and I'm going, don't say that in public. And then I hate myself for doing it. I'm going, no, it should be said. It needs to be said. All of my wetness aside, right? And you've got to be careful with this stuff, right? There's no point sort of being bonkers. I think if we had a festival, but then you wouldn't even be able to rely on that because they'd probably send their agents in with recorders in their phones and stuff. And they'd pretend to be one of us. This happened to me in other things, right? Before. Yeah. You just think, you sad buggers. Is that it? Is this, here's the peasants, honourable peasants seeking to do their best and point out errors, but no. But of course, the bottom line is they get paid. And they're controlled, and they've no doubt got stuff on most of their agents. This is how bad it is, right? They're all compromised as well. So what you're supposed to do, forgive them. The bottom line is we can't end up paying everybody else's debts. It's down to them to do that. And I know where we're all about this thing about sort of capital punishment or whatever with regards to wrongdoers. I think I'm still looking for a document that was written about 5 years ago that made a very good case for it, and it's not in my head, I'm afraid. I wish it were, but I can't recall it properly to do it justice. But it was interesting. It had some very salient points. I know the point I was going to make, Eric. Sorry, I'm talking a bit.
That's right.
I'm just having a catch up in my tape loop. We have jails, right, and prisons. And they cost money to run, don't they? Yeah. And everybody says, justice has been done. This guy's going to be locked up for 80 years. What's the point? Yeah. I'm serious. Do you know how much it costs for a prisoner? Is it 50 grand a year? I mean, think about it. Yeah. We've got our own troops sleeping in doorways. Don't you think the 50 grand a year would be better spent helping people that are not breaking the law as opposed to making those that have broken the law super comfortable? I'm not for penalising people or causing pain or torture or any of that. But the fact is that this is, where's the line? And then, of course, you have to set up a committee and that costs money. And, we'll write a report in 3 years' time and we'll tell you about the state of English prisons.
Yeah, but banishing them off to somewhere else, they can live their life out. It doesn't cost us anything because the island will be self-supporting. And I think that because, we've had capital punishment. You think what the Edwardians, some of the Edwardians, the Elizabethans did. It was really cruel. It's awful, chopping people's heads off and things like that. And a lot of innocent people.
It's a bit awful, isn't it? You're going to chop my head off. Yep.
And it was like a sort of religion. And what happens is you find that the psychopathic mentality gets in and they have a field day. It's like putting people into uniforms. It's the most dangerous thing you could wish to do. And my feeling is the most humane thing we can do. Put them on an island, put them somewhere else, keep them out of our sight. And let them live their life out the way they want to live their life out. And if they want to do it to each other, that's entirely up to them. That's the thing. Because we've had hundreds of years of psychopathic behaviour where people have had their heads chopped off, hung, and things like that. It hasn't proved anything. It hasn't solved any problems.
Well, Eric, I think you're right. But then as you're saying that, I'm thinking, well, maybe it did. Here's my thinking on the spur of the moment. We are faced now with systemic evil, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't faced with systemic evil back then. Because every time they found a head of the snake, they chopped it off, literally. Right? Now, this didn't stop it growing, but it didn't grow at the speed that it's grown since everything's been eased off. That's a guess on my part. Can't prove a word of that. It's just a thought as you were saying that. There are, this is the thing, what's it called? The thing about unintended consequences. there are always unintended consequences of all sorts of things. And it's not that I'm a venal person. Sometimes we all talk like that, don't we? And we get a bit sort of, up ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And that's just fair game, I think. It's just expression. But in terms of carrying through with acts of violence, although there are men of violence in the world. Now, if there are, they need to be in our military defending these islands, not in our government departments ruining the lives of decent people. Actually, this dovetails into a little clip that somebody sent over. Let me just give a credit if I can recall who it was. Because I sometimes don't. Oh, well, it was reposted from a channel on Telegram called Wide Awake Media. This is Liz Truss. Yes, I'm a Liz Truss fanboy. I'm a Liz Truss fanboy. It's going to stick, isn't it? Simply because every now and again, she says right things. She says things that are true. This is a couple of minutes. I don't know if you heard this. I caught the clip earlier today, Eric. But she's talking about the elite in England, how it's really run. It's actually for the whole of these islands, basically. A couple of minutes. Listen to this.
The problem is that we have an elite in this country that believe in open borders, they believe in net zero, they believe in woke ideology like transgender ideology. They don't care what people think. We need to build a movement that is actually going to change not just the political layer in this country, but the entire bureaucratic class, the BBC, the mainstream media. It all needs to change because these people have been proved wrong. We've had 40 years. That's how long the stagnation has been going on, and we need to break out of it.
Can I ask you about, particularly back in your time in government, you referenced to the blob, the Home Office, getting in the way, stopping you do what you wanted. Is that a conspiracy theory? You were there. How seriously opposed are the public sector, the Home Office, to doing things like controlling borders, to doing things like controlling
they're very
what the
opposed.
country
We know,
should be like?
we know that they're under the influence of Islamist networks. We've seen that recently. We know that the governor of the Bank of England has advocated against Brexit. He's advocated for net zero. He's advocated for DEI. We know that those are the senior people in the bureaucracy are progressive ideologues. That is a given. Look at what we're hearing from senior police chiefs. Look at what we're hearing from judges in courts. We have seen a system takeover by an ideology, and the right is not going to win if we just replace the politicians. We've actually got to replace the people that are really running things. We need people in Parliament who are prepared to sack bureaucrats and replace them with people aligned to our agenda, because otherwise nothing will change. Even if we get a new prime minister in 2029 with different ideas, if the same senior people are still there at the Home Office, at the Bank of England, heading up the police forces, nothing will change.
Spot on, to paraphrase Mr. Eric from Essex.
That's right. And she's not mentioned anything about the U word. Usury.
Well, she mentioned the Bank of England. You've got to. I mean, I think you've got to take what we get. Apart from which, most people don't even know what usury is. So, I think I don't want to rebut her on that, because she's addressing the core issue. There's a systemic evil in the nation. It's been brought about. We can point fingers all over the place, and we should. Fabian Society is definitely in there. London School of Economics is another one. The Tavistock Institute, Chatham House, MI5, MI6, and spook agencies that we don't know exist. All the social engineering departments. The civil service is now completely infused with these numpties. And they are waging war on us. So it's now getting clear, you see. I think this is what's occurring, I think, particularly over the last couple of months. What with the stabbing of that poor lad and several other things. And this is where I get slightly suspicious that we're being intentionally agitated in all sorts of ways. It's as if they've got all their ducks in a row. Now let's really stir it up. I'm serious. I'm just trying to watch out. But even if they do that, we're still going to have to find a way to defend ourselves. But I think people becoming more voluble and knowing this is of immense value, certainly because I can't think of too many other things that we can do still that are helpful and in the right direction. So like I said, I've only got 2 clips from her, and the other one Paul sent me, but I've not put it into my system yet, and it's the one from a year or so back. But she nails it. She's basically saying she can't. When she was Prime Minister, what's the point of having one? I've been banging on about this stuff for years. There's no point having. They're actors. The latest puppet has just resigned and did his act. Now they've got another one lined up who's also a WEF.
Numpty.
Yeah.
No, but the thing
It's
is,
just a nice
I'm not
word.
sure if it's I think it was the Home Office Godfrey Bloom was talking about today,
Yeah.
where there's 3 flag poles. 2 are empty, and one of them in the middle has got the rainbow flag raised. That's it.
Yeah.
He said that sums it up. That tells you what's going on. I mean,
It tells you what's going on with them.
Yeah.
Are they just provoking us? I mean, you can feel sentiment changing purely because of sentences like that came out of Liz Truss's mouth. And the idea is that these things have to be amplified. They have a major effect. They do. They're like a sort of radiation wave, and people go, I'm not alone. I'm not thinking stupidly. Whereas if all you ingest is that box in the room, and tragically that is all that many people ingest, they don't know that they don't know. They don't. They actually are, nescient.
What about this idea that I'm warming to, in that the official news is nothing more than a pantomime to take your mind away from the U word that we're being screwed left, right and centre to pay off a debt that doesn't exist. That's the trouble. This country, we're just being conned and conned and conned, and it's all to do with the money manipulators.
Yeah.
And, when you think about it, what do we have? Fear of nuclear war. Now, there's an item, I don't know if it's on your chat yet, Paul, but on Telegram, where it is scientifically proven that the Americans did not drop a nuclear bomb, or atomic bomb rather, on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. It was conventional high explosives, and the reason people got sick, but they said it's due to radiation poison, was they put mustard gas in this bomb. And when you look at Chernobyl, I can never pronounce it, Chernobyl. There's elderly people that refuse to leave. There's one woman over 100 there. How comes when they said it's so contaminated?
Radiation is good for you.
Yes.
Get your head in a nuclear reactor. Probably
And
not. I wouldn't
the
suggest that
wildlife
you do
is
that.
thriving there, absolutely thriving. So
Chris Packham would be happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's something weird going on. I don't know.
What's weird is that the mainstream media is a completely unreliable pack of liars and controlled, and that's why you have to do your own research. I think there's another aspect to this as well, though, Eric. Like, okay, so obviously I am not unfamiliar with the usury issue and all of those other things, and that's right there at the heart. We know that that's the heart of this beast system because it's what funds it every minute of the day to keep predating on us. Without that, they can't keep their staff in line. They all need to pay their mortgages, right, at various levels. They can't kill all of them. They're very good at that sort of stuff and poisoning people and getting older people that betray them. I'm sure it's just, I'm glad I'm not in that world, by the grace of God. But some people are. And if we were able to sever that, then obviously I suspect, or at least my view is that it would start to wither. That's literally the root, because that's the bit that keeps pumping all the foul blood throughout our system. However, even if you take smaller things, we're still faced with the same challenge, which is if most of these centres, like the police force, like the NHS now, and other places have been subsumed into this cultural cult, this cult of wokeness, which is still not its correct word. It's communism. They don't even know it yet. They just give them different words to say, oh, I'm a globalist and this, that and the other, right? It's communism. It's going to be very difficult to get them out of it. And they're not going to help us, are they? In other words, when you say, well, if it's like I say this, if everybody knew this, something would happen. Well, I don't say it much these days because it wouldn't.
Well,
because
that's right.
Because it won't. And I'm not being negative. I'm just saying there's got to be.
What's keeping us in ignorance?
It's not even that, Eric. It's the will to act. If that will to act doesn't exist, it doesn't matter how much knowledge you know. I mean, they say, the truth will set you free, and it does as an individual and in a peaceful way, and that's how it should be. It does do that. But I also think that if you don't act on these things, this is just a thought. I don't think it's a particularly evolved thought at all. If you don't act on them, you can't make a difference to the situation. Whereas an acting at the moment, it's a very interesting word, it's acting, by the way, but acting, to take an action transforms a situation, even if it fails. The mere fact that someone gave it a go means a lot. It really does. Even though people would go, oh, look at him, the idiot, or this, that, and the other. It does happen. But often you find that it's been around a few so-called idiots acting that changes the entire tone of something. It's like being at a party and it's all peaceful and there's 100 of you there, and in a corner of a room suddenly a ruck kicks off and 3 guys are fighting, and it changes the whole energy in the room. There's only 3 of them doing it, right? But the other 97 are completely infected with a kind of negative wave of energy. Oh my God, I don't want to come here. I'm never bringing my wife here again. You can bet that. What kind of an establishment are you running? Right, that kind of stuff. Things kick. I'm not saying that that's how we change it. It's just an example of when some action that sort of invades your space, it changes you, right? You just, in the moment, you have to suddenly, the idea of drinking the rest of your beer goes out the window. You go, I think I need to get out of the room now. If you're paying attention, this is not a good place for me to be. So we're still faced with that. So, I think
I agree with you. But as Henry Ford said, he said, if people knew the truth about the banking industry, there would be an uprising before tomorrow morning.
Would there, though?
Maybe.
Do you actually think that there would? I think it's going to take a bit of time to boil up. I think it's like, listen, I'm not saying that there wouldn't. It's just that I'm not convinced that it would happen that quickly.
We're too comfortable. We're far too comfortable at the moment.
Exactly.
It's when they can't get their EastEnders on television.
Yeah.
Because they ain't got any electricity. When they go to the supermarkets and there's bugger all there, then they'll do something, but not until. And the government know that, so you'll be able to get very high carbohydrate crap in the supermarkets, but you won't be able to get quality food.
Yeah, it is. It's like being seduced into a dead life slowly. Boil the frog thing. It works. Yeah. It is working. But I think the COVID thing was, in one level, from our perspective, a mistake by them, because it actually galvanized this space, brought a lot of new people into it, I think, that kind of stuff. Yeah. We're still faced with these same sorts of challenges. I mean, I think, there's 2 directions at least that we've got to look in. One is we do have to keep scoping out for what nonsense they're going to come up with. But the other thing is to keep encouraging our own people to mock them a lot, and to take them apart with humour. I know you talk about it a lot. I've always agreed with this. It's been a thought of mine for years as well. They don't like it up them. And it really is a very subtle weapon for us to use. They hate it, because these are the sorts of guys that want to walk around on parade with loads of medals on their chest and be acknowledged for being better than you and me. All that crap, right? Look at me. I'm Sir this, that, and the other. You're just a donkey, mate. In other words, the sarcastic comments of the peasantry, they don't want going in their ears. They want to live in their deluded space. I'm really helping the country, says Tony Blair to himself every day, the lunatic. One of the most dangerous men that we've ever had at the helm.
When they leave office, it's always, the country is now in a better state than it was when I entered office. Bullshit. They're living in a completely delusional world. As I say, these people are ill. They're sick. There's something wrong with their mind. Yeah. And the big problem is government attracts psychos and demonic people like bees around a honeypot, because the only one that's going to get there to the top is someone on ego, a massive ego. Look at that talk that Keir Starmer gave. Most of that was acting. All that fake sobbing, and not sobbing, but breaking his voice. I'm sorry.
Got me, Eric. I could feel my bottom lip going.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Paul.
mate.
Good evening. What's it like in America? Are you warm over there? Where are you in America as well? Have you moved?
No, I'm still northeast. No,
you're still in America. You're still in it.
Yeah, I'm still in America. I haven't gone anywhere yet. No, Keir Starmer's his speech was very simply to the addle-minded, lazy, non-thinking sheeple, and they will buy every word that he said, hook, line, and sinker. He'll go down as being the greatest prime minister since sliced bread, just because they're too stupid to know the difference, or so disconnected from politics that they believe everything they hear. Paul, did you get that bit that I sent you on the theory of stupidity?
I did. Yes, I did.
Bonhoeffer's
I've got it.
theory of stupidity, yeah. Brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's not going to feature in tonight's show
was
because
spot
I was
on.
too stupid to read it before this show. So his theory probably turned out to be true, didn't it?
Oh, no, it's absolutely true. What it is it is the people's laziness to actually pay attention and the fear of speaking up and not being a part of the crowd and not being one of the sheeple, not being one of the herd. And it's absolutely spot on today. Spot on. That's
Yes,
why I
it
sent
is.
it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, I am familiar with it, so I just didn't read it all the way through, but I know the basic principles of what he's talking about. I think I've read sort of bits from it and this, that, and the other. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's the other one by Gustave Le Bon, which is The Crowd, which is a similar observation about the fact that crowds are literally mindless. They don't have a mind. There's no. I think one of the good things about getting old, everybody, or older, let's be that, because I don't know what old actually is. That's 120 plus, isn't it? Old soon. Yes. But one of the things is that you do find that you have an escalating condition called couldn't give a shititis. And it's really incredibly liberating. You actually don't care what other people think. And I'm getting more and more like that, which is probably going to make me more and more obnoxious on this show, resulting in it being shut down. So I don't know. But you can't care. You hit a point, you go, no, this has to be said. And even if it's wrong, I want to hear the feedback so that I get corrected and put right. I'm not bothered about being right all the time. You just go, hang on, is anybody paying attention to this? I see this. And why is this not being spoken about? And one of the things that's not being spoken about, of course, or the way that they've hammered all the language, is all around this immigration stuff, the rape gang stuff and everything. If you look at the language that's used by the media, it's completely neutered. It does not describe the situation at all. It's always alluding to other things. They use generic and general terms, a man, stuff like this. They never go right in on it and going, this, because they know that stuff. So there's an agenda at play, as we well know. And the more it's said and that agenda is pointed out, hopefully the fewer people become hypnotized by it. And that's, so we're phrasing this negatively, but there's been a lot of positives taking place in this direction. Otherwise, this little sort of burst of all these communicators over the last 6 or 7 years in this space would not have occurred. The COVID thing has actually, it pricked a lot of people's consciences, pun intended. So it did.
But that story about the person that was raped or somebody that was murdered or whatever, the more vague they can make the assailant and the more vague they can make the victim, the more fearful the general population will be, because they don't have, it was a black guy, or it was an Asian guy, or it was a Mexican that did it. Mm-hmm. No, it was a man. It could have been anybody. It could have been your neighbor. It could have been the trusted police officer that walked your child home from the school bus. Maybe he's really bad. It is just fear in the broad and literal sense. And that's why they do it that way. They do it intentionally. They don't want to give somebody something to fear. They want them to fear everything. So you nailed it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, anxiety amplification is definitely a key part of their toolkit. It really is. We've got about 20 minutes to go in this hour. I don't know if this little bit that I wanted to talk about will last 20 minutes. It might do. Now, I was listening to a guy called Mark, who's an economic correspondent, but also reporting on the World Cup this morning on the Mike Graham show. I do that, as you know, from time to time. And this was a good little bit, and I just got the clip before the show started for a couple, I think it's a minute and a half, right? But it leads into a topic I've mentioned before, but I think it's worth bringing up. I'm not advocating that you go and start watching the World Cup, although I've found the sub-stories to it incredibly interesting. The cultural engagement between Europeans and Americans has been quite interesting. Europeans having their heads rearranged, going, it's nothing like we were told in the media. No, and of course, they're making a big thing about eating Texas barbecue, Paul, which you've probably had several this week already, I would imagine, or something. It looks awfully juicy. But they got around to talking about the World Cup because this guy Mark is out in Portugal watching it in bars out there and talking about it. But this is not really about the World Cup. Well, it sort of is, but it leads into a topic about why the World Cup is irrelevant at the moment, even though it's a fun event. I do sound like a confused person. I probably am. Anyway, get your lug holes around this for 90 seconds and let's see what comes up.
It's quite odd, actually, Mike. We've been touching on this in a range of ways throughout the tournament. What should count as qualifying you to be able to manage or indeed play for any given national team? Obviously, England have a German manager. We look through all 48 teams. 27 of the countries in the World Cup are managed by a foreigner, not by somebody of their own nationality. The Morocco boss is actually dual national, has Moroccan nationality, but not uniquely so. And what does this tell us? That you perhaps need a bit more unity and solidarity in the dressing room. No team managed by a foreign manager has ever won the World Cup. So if that were to continue, that's 28, 27 and a half, depending on how you count Morocco, teams who can't do it this year either. So we've kept a beady eye on that. And also what qualifies you to be a player? 25 of the 26 Curacao players were not born in Curacao. 25 out of 26 of the squad. And Morocco earlier in the tournament managed to field a starting 11, none of whom were born in Morocco. So, yes, it's a sort of open borders World Cup in many ways, I'm afraid.
Well, that's why you get people like Emma Hayes declaring that, these games are victories for immigration. And you kind of go, sorry? Get back in the kitchen. As, of course, we can't say on regular television, but we can say here.
And we can say it here, although I would never advise the women here to get back in the kitchen. You shouldn't have come out of it in the first place. Just had to say that. It's completely wrong of me, isn't it? But look, the point that he's making there is like tickling around the edges, but I'm glad that they even got to that point. So I think Mark, who does the economic stuff, I don't know his surname, it sounds as though he's my mate. I've never met him. I don't know much about him, but he's just called Mark. When he's talking about that sentence where he said they weren't even born there, that's still shy of the mark. It's nothing to do with where you're born, is it? Is it? Or do you think it is? It seems to me that it's not possible that you can be in a nation if you're not of its tribe. It's that simple. And when he was talking about unity in the dressing room, they're like nibbling around the edges of the core issue here. So I've caught some of it, and I've had this funny sort of little feeling going on inside me. First of all, there's a part of me, that the old bit that used to watch these things when, in my view, and it used to be played by actual national teams. There's a strict definition for that. And I kept on pretending in my head that it was still like that. And then every now and again, I'm reminded that it isn't. And then I'm going, what are you doing? To myself, why am I doing this? I don't sit around watching football matches all the time, by the way. I haven't got time for that. But of an evening, sort of 11 o'clock at night, so I'll watch something for 10 minutes, and then I go, what's really going on here? What is this? So, I've mentioned this point before. In my view, the World Cup is not an international football tournament. It isn't. The team called England did play Croatia the other night. Croatia were on the pitch. Every single player for Croatia was a Croatian. Not every single player for the team called England was English or was of England. It's not their fault. This is such a touchy topic, but it's not their fault. It's the FA's fault, in my view, for inducing them to think that they are. And this, of course, they've been induced to do it by the political agenda of globalism. We're all one people. We're all this, that, and the other. We're not, and this is why it sucks. And it's why it's not as magnificent and wacky as it used to be. It was really brilliant before, for the very simple reason that your nation actually was on the pitch. It was there, you could see it. And of course, you can't talk like this. So Mark seems to think it's something to do with where you were born, but it clearly is not. It absolutely is nothing to do with that. I don't think I'd go down well on one of these ITV football panels. What do you think? I'd probably get lamped, wouldn't I? It's all gone quiet. Where's everybody gone?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. this is the thing. We've all got to be politically correct. Say what we should say, and what is it in their minds that they think they can, program people to think like they think? There's something mentally wrong, I say, with these people, because for years dictators have tried to get people to think like they think, and they've never got away with it. And
they're waging war on us, and it's psychological social engineering warfare. Yeah. And of course, I'm trying to find the thing is, I don't think there are sentences that can be said about this topic that would not cause a lot of people to react in a hostile way towards the words that I'm saying. But and it's not that I'm special or anything. I'm not the only person that speaks like this. It's just a matter of observation, isn't it? If you can't define who is of your nation, if you can't define that, then you cannot field a national side, can you? Well, we don't know we don't know who is of England. I do. I know. You ask me. I'm of England. I can't speak for the Scots, but go and ask a Scot who's of Scotland. They know too, right? So then you say, but you're being nasty to these other players who come from not England, right? And I'm going, actually, I'm not. I'm actually in support of them as well, because they have been misled to contribute their footballing skills. It doesn't matter that it's about football. They're just using it because they get so many bloody eyeballs on this event, right? They're using it to send out this sub-carrier wave of this is how it's all going to be. But it don't work. And the reason it don't work is from that guy, just going back to his stats, no team, for example, ever managed by a non-national, that means of the race, right? No Argentinian side ever managed by anybody else other than an Argentinian has ever won the World Cup, and can't, and I would suggest probably can't. And he talked about unity in the dressing room. That's interesting, because that's to do with what I think is like the frequency of operating systems amongst the different races. And it's not that they're better or worse, it's that they are what they are, and they work. Like the team called England played Ghana the other night. I think I was saying this spectacular 0-0 draw, which I didn't watch. I just read the reports. But the Ghanaian team were managed by a Ghanaian. I think they might not have been. But the team was Ghanaian. Their nation was on the pitch. Now, I was thinking, I think I mentioned before, of reading an alternative results book. So, as far as I'm concerned, Croatia won against the team called England because they fielded a national team. I mean, how toxic is this? What I'm saying, right? It just is. But is there a flaw in the logic I'm seeking to apply? Let me know.
Did you notice the dialectic in that story? That one story, it was like 90 seconds, it was a minute and a half, and it touched both of the issues. It touched an international team having multinationals on any country's team, and it also talked about how that multinationals on a team was a bad thing because no team had ever won that had a coach from another country. But then at the end, it also said this is good for immigration, where it said that immigration and mixing races and countrymen on the same team is a good idea. It caught both of the dialectics, and I think it was just to piss people off, no matter where they were coming from.
Well, they were quoting this woman, Emma something or other, whose name I can't recall and can't be bothered to recall, talking about this nonsense. You see, the agenda in their heads guarantees that we can never win anything because we will never be, in this case, on the pitch. It's that. So you go, look, and I've got this idea that if we were on the pitch, everybody in England is supporting them, even if you hate football. Why? Because they're of your kith and kin. It's cool. There's nothing bad about that. But this has been demonized. Oh, you can't have that. So the people that actually really hate the races is not someone who's expressing a position like I'm expressing now. It's those that are seeking to push them all together. They hate all of them. They hate the lot of us. They're going to crush it all. There'll be nothing left. It's just a complete blah fest. It doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless at the level of nationhood. And of course, people are going to go, but we always used to war. Yeah, why? Because of the same force that was interfering and bringing it about.
Because nationalism is what globalism fears.
Absolutely. And it's what we all want back because it's the natural. Nationalism is natural. It's naturalism almost. It's absolutely natural for all people, in my view, for all people to want that. And of course, the only people that are going to kick back are somebody who's spent 16 years in university learning cultural gibberish, Marxist gibberish, and are going to write a 10,000-page series of books on it that you're supposed to read. And if you didn't, you're a dingbat. But that, you know, this is just an element of this fight that's taking place. Absolutely, it's a fight of an ideology against what is, against reality. Or actuality, that's what, and they're going, our idea is better than what's real. And we're going, no, mate, it's all you've got is an idea, and every time you've tried to bring it to fruition, usually millions of people are dead. That's what happens. So it's a strange sort of thing. It really is, because this is the sad bit of me. This is how I'm still weak on this. I want the World Cup to be like it was when I was a kid. It was really something else. And the whole morphing of the sort of space, courtesy of the European Union, one of the agencies, and FIFA's another agency in charge of the football, or whatever it is. We're just talking, it's not about football, this conversation. This is about this continued muddying of, people don't define their terms. If you don't get clear on your terms, what on earth are you talking about? It's got nothing to do with where a person's born. I could have been born up in Lapland. I'm still a Yorkshireman if my parents are from there, and I'm an Englishman. It's about blood. Oh, you can't talk like that. But that's why there's no unity in the dressing room, because it is about blood. It's cool. It's bloody cool. You know. Right. Alice says, look, Paul, you're interfering with the plan for one homogeneous planet, you bad boy. Well, I am, and I want you all to be bad boys and bad girls if you want to retain your sanity. I think. I mean, I really think it's that. And of course, it's difficult for people to retain their sanity at football matches when they've got 16 pints of lager inside them, and they can put anything in a shirt. And this is not to dismiss the footballing talents of these other individuals. As I said before, they've robbed their true nations of these guys' footballing talents. They should get together and sue the FA's arse and get hundreds of millions out of them. So what are you doing? But of course, it's not that. It's not the FA. The FA go, well, we've been put up to it. I'm just making all this crap up, right? We've been put up to it by the politicians. And the politicians, well, it's not us. We've been put up to it by the banks. And then you go back to what Liz Truss just said, that, you know, Andrew, whatever his name is, who's in charge of the Bank of England, he's a Fabian socialist globalist. So don't you think that when you've got this sort of perspective, everywhere you look, you just see it? I mean, or am I just see it everywhere. I just go, oh, there's another completely weak thing. And then you're told, what are we told? We've got to tolerate this. That produces disease in an individual. Long-term tolerance is absolutely a recipe for disease, psychological, spiritual, intellectual. It reduces us in terms of our capacity to do certain things, all sorts of stuff. I wanted the Ghanaians to kick England's arse, the team called England's arse. And I feel really sorry as well for the players who should be playing for England but can't because it's mismanaged. It's not the players' fault. I'd never be able to say this on TV, and I probably wouldn't even want to, because I'd want to live, and someone's going to react really, really badly. But where can you say these sorts of things? Is it wrong to say these things? If it's incorrect, someone's got to come up with a good argument why. But there isn't one, because it is, as Alice was saying, it's the drive for the homogeneous planet. And when you've got that, you produce a mass of literally rudderless people, because none of them know what their history is. I'm a human being. Great. That's it, is it? That's cool. What did your father used to be? Oh, he used to be a Zulu warrior. Hey, I'm interested. Tell me about your dad's life. No, don't you want to know about my life? No, because he's like everybody else's. It's boring, mate. It's just not, it's inhuman. Oh, hang on. That's from last week, actually. I still had that sticking in. Bugger off. There you go. Everything's going, that's because we only did a 2-hour show last week, so I had that in on the timer. I tell you what, we've been going 2 hours and it feels like a lot longer than that, guys.
That's because of the hiccups.
Like
Yeah, wow. It's all good stuff. Well, Monica should be joining us after the break. Anyway, anything you want to add? We've still got a couple of minutes before we go to a song and a break and stuff like that. Anything you want to add on that for now? No?
Well, how much? The thing is who is paying these political parties? Although, if we do mention that, we might not be back next week. So, but it's always best to, shall we say, look behind these political parties and see who the financiers are. And then you get a good idea of their policies. That's basically.
Yeah, can you get on the mic a bit, Eric? I can't turn you up much
I'm sorry,
more.
mate. I'm sorry. How's that? Yeah, the fact is, you've got to look at who's financing these people and these parties, and that'll give you an idea what their policies are about. Because it's industry that's financing them, and we come second. And that's why political parties, when they get into power, they do the opposite to what they've said they're going to do, because they are helping their chums that got them into office and financially supported them, not us.
Yep. No, it's absolutely true. And of course, because none of them understand how banking works, they're all doing something that doesn't even need to be done.
Correct.
Seriously. I mean, it's absolutely mad, because we're one of those great anxiety inducers is the economy. What? Oh, yeah, the economy. Of course, it is intentionally being badly managed on purpose. And we've got this numpty coming in called Andrew Burnham. Anyway, look, we're at the end of our slot here on WBN, but we're carrying on for another hour on Food for Thought Radio. If we're still on WBN, thanks for being with us. We just had a technical doodah. I'll probably get a message from someone tomorrow saying you are a numpty. And I guess maybe I am indirectly. There we go. But we'll be back again same time next week on WBN. We're carrying on with Monica Schaefer on the other side of the hour. If you want to carry on listening, you can tune in at FFTradio.com. FFTradio.com. It's the only place where we're going out now because Rumble and YouTube vomited on us as well at the same time. Here's an old cowboy song all about America, which I played some months ago, which is lovely. And then hopefully we'll be with Monica on the other side of this delightful song. Come on, everybody, sing along.
Arizona moon, keep shining from the desert sky above. You know pretty soon that big yellow moon will light the way back to the one you love. Blue shadows on the trail, little cowboy, close your eyes and dream. All of the doggies are in the corral. All of your work is done. Just close your eyes and dream, little pal. Dream of someone. Blue shadows on the trail, soft wind blowing through the trees above. All the other little cowboys back in the bunkhouse now, so close your eyes and
Night, Lucky. Night, Dusty.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned.
Good night, Ned. Good night, Lucky.
Good night, Dusty.
Oh, isn't that lovely? I bet we can all sleep. Good night, Eric. Good night. Oh, no, we're not ending at all. We're not. In fact, we're saying good night to the horses and the cowboys, but we're saying good evening and welcome, or good afternoon, to our Canadian lady friend, Monica Schaefer. Monica, hello. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello. You do pick the best music. Not so sure about this week's thumbnail image. It's comical.
Well, that's a typical British saucy seaside scene. That's what it's like. It's absolutely what it's like.
I see.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We even got a youthful Keir Starmer at the side, pointing at the gentleman's bottom. So there we
that's
go.
who that was on the side.
Yes.
I think Eric's taking a bit of artistic license with that one, but it's not bad artistic license, Eric, I must admit.
He's leaving politics, or leaving where his position is, to spend more time with his boys.
There it is.
What I mean. Yes, there we are. Yes.
There you go. Yeah, I just yes, absolutely. So I think the lady over on the left is probably Alice Gorgeous looking on, and then the other ladies there as well, and from the crowd. And I don't know who the gentleman is with here on his rear, but it's a bit of a rear, isn't it? That's immense. In fact, if you look at those backsides, they've missed an opportunity to be rented out as poster sites. They could charge a good fee for that. There's a lot of signage there. But yes. Anyway, as a typical British seaside scene, people still look like that, smoking cigars, going around, wallowing around in fat, Monica. No, they don't. Yeah, I guess that's from the 50s or 60s, that card. It's something like that, looking at the style. Who knows? But yeah.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's funny.
Alice Gorgeous.
It's always entertaining seeing your thumbnails. They're always good. Sometimes they've got great beauty, and sometimes some historical things wrapped up in aesthetically pleasing architecture or scenes, and this one was like, wow, look at that, eh? He's taking an evolution here.
I would definitely like to point out that Alice Gorgeous is the one on the very, very extreme left, facing the camera in that way.
Perfect.
Yes, she writes, she says, I'm jolly, very cross, says Alice. Yeah, Monica will think we all have gigantic bottoms in the UK. Well, we do, Alice, don't we? Actually, we don't. Some people are beginning to develop them. I think it's like a hobby. It's like growing giant marrows, and some people are growing the most enormous bottoms. They're vast. I've heard that the British, or the people of these islands, are catching up with the Americans in terms of producing a sort of subset of huge, vast blubber people, which, of course, is not very good, but... Anyway, they would be classed as healthy. Better than being all rake-like, Better to be plump and jolly, eh? And have a cardiac arrest.
Yes, true.
Something like that.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Have you been busy, Monica? Have you been busy recently?
Oh, I have been very, very busy. And so part of what has kept me so busy is actually real life stuff. Like, I've been busier in real life things than online stuff is taking a back seat for me these days, because it's in that time of year, the days are long, it's summertime, lots of musical events. So I've been playing lots of music and continue to do so. There are events and stuff. And then, I mean, you probably want to hear about what's going on over here. I don't know. I could start with that, the personal life stuff, or I could start with an update about Alfred, or I could start with an update about, Bolshevism 2.0 in Canada.
Yeah, that one. Let's go for that one.
Full blown.
Yes.
Full blown.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm sure you've been following, but a bunch of different bills have been passed within the last, a week or so. It's all very recent. So the one that we were hearing so much about, at least in the alternative media, is Bill C9, which is supposedly to protect the children. Now, I always am quite worried when they talk about protecting anybody, particularly the children, right? It's for your safety, or it's safe and effective and all that stuff. So we know, that actually is Orwellian doublespeak for precisely the opposite. And it could very well be that Bill C9 is a backdoor to instituting, the digital ID, the prison, the surveillance prison that they are constructing, because, they say, well, we want to protect children from online harms, and so we need to know their age. Well, how do you know anybody's age, right? So that's that. But there's a lot more in that bill. You can't quote parts of the Bible anymore to defend your position when you are saying, for example, that homosexuality is perhaps a sin, or, it's not healthy or whatever. That if you quote the Bible now, that is not a defense if they can call you out for hate speech, this type of thing. So it's criminalizing your religious beliefs, basically, and much more. But then in the very next breath, I'm hearing that they passed a bunch of bills, and what I'm hearing is that they did it late in the evening, one evening, with like Bill C-8, Bill C-22, and then there's Bill C-36, which is supposedly supposed to be wrap them all up in one. But I don't know. I haven't really researched those numbers and exactly what's in them. But I understand that there were big bills, big stuff, sort of like in the United States, they call them omnibus bills, but here they don't call them that. But they have a lot in them. And apparently the MPs, the members of parliament, had something like half an hour to read these big bills, and then they have the vote, and it's 10:30 at night or something like that. I don't know. Again, I need to check all of that, which I have been told by somebody who does follow these things quite closely. But the whole thing is very much, they are bringing in I would say this is Bolshevism 2.0. It's full blown now in Canada.
Yes.
So I'm even hearing from other people who I don't usually consider to be out there living on the edge in terms of speaking truth to power, that they're even saying, wow, they're worried about, anything that appears to be looked at or said on their computer on their IP address. You see? That it's linked to them, because this may create a danger for them. I mean, this is, so one thing for sure, it is in upping the fear quotient. Am I articulating that properly? But,
yes.
Yeah, so that is one of the desired effects, I do think. But, I mean, it's not just that it's upping the fear quotient or quota, whatever the word is. They are really bringing on this new world order, which has been predicted for decades, really. You could say decades, and Mark Carnage, this guy at the top, I'm telling you, what I just have to shake my head about the whole thing. I know.
Don't shake it too hard, Monica. We need it still attached to your body. I know exactly what you mean.
But I have told you this, I'm pretty sure, but I know that family from my childhood. We knew them very, very well.
Oh, the Carneys.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. Who could have dreamed that one day this man was going to destroy? He's one of the cogs in the wheel of destruction.
Yeah,
that's descending upon us. Like, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm.
Did you know that in English, Monica, over here in England, carny is a term of abuse?
Oh.
Yep. I hate carnies. Carnival folk, they were known to be roustabouts and thieves whenever the carnival would come in. And so it's synonymous with a kind of makeshift pickpocket kind of culture. Carnies. Have you ever seen Austin Powers? With Mike Myers, who's a Canadian, isn't he? Mike Myers. Okay, well, in the first one, I think it is. They're talking about who he doesn't like. He says, and he says, I don't like carnies. But it's just, it's like travellers that are bad. I'm not saying that all travellers are bad, but it's sort of like a bad lot of travellers. That's what it's synonymous with. Do you have that over in Essex, Eric? That kind of thing? Carnies?
No, I've never heard of it, really. Carnies? No.
Yeah, carnival folk. That's what it means.
I like carnivore folk, though.
Carnivore folk, yeah, I suppose he is, really.
Yes.
Yeah, but, he's repellent. He's absolutely oily and greasy and repellent and smarmy, very well manicured, very poised in his communication, very clean, very bright, and used to be the governor of the Bank of England.
Correct.
Which means it was a puppet there.
Yeah, and when they were living over there, he sent his. Now I forgot what this child is originally, but his daughter over to the Tavistock, transgender or whatever they call it, the Sexuality Institute, whatever it is, and got the transition done on the 12-year-old.
Wow, he's super gone. So he's failed his daughter. So he's an absolute failure.
Either it was a boy that turned girl or a girl that pretended to turn boy. I can't remember which way that one went.
Well, did you know that? Sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say is the Netherlands are outdoing Canada now with euthanasia. They've just euthanized a child under the age of 12.
Oh.
I mean, can you imagine?
What was the excuse?
Terminally ill. But I think that's just an excuse.
Yeah.
But you also had that tragic case as well. Also Netherlands, isn't it, Eric? That was in one of the chat groups. That a young girl has just murdered both her parents because she had transitioned. She hadn't, of course, because she can't do it. She'd gone through something to become a boy, but also at some point during her school life, she identified as a dog and was often found scampering up and down the corridors barking and sitting on fence posts and things like this. I'm serious.
She's a psychiatrist. That's the thing. The person is
she's
insane.
murdered her parents now, so it's over. And her parents, of course... It's absolutely beyond me. It means that the parents do not protect the most precious thing that they ever get given. They don't protect it. It's the most repulsive, repellent, hideous thing. I hate it. I do mean hate. Yeah, I hate it.
Yes.
I have a strong aversion and dislike of it, and it's intense. And it's an appalling thing. And people just keep going along to getting along, and then they end up getting killed by their mentally ill daughter.
Oh, so are you saying that these parents, they participated in this child's support?
Well, they didn't. They obviously, Well, how do you get it through unless they were completely bullied by the state?
Well, that's.
But even that's not an excuse because there's no way. I'd rather die than have that happen.
Oh yeah,
probably would.
People do go to jail here for trying to protect their children from these.
Time for a rising up. It's just completely out of order.
I agree.
People have got to look after their own family first. If everybody's that, you won't have a problem. But if you've got these goofballs that are weak, that get sucked into it or are manipulated, you've got to find out who the protection agency is, because that word is to protect the child, is it?
Yeah. It's the opposite.
To destroy civilization.
And I hate to say it, but it's along this topic that we've covered in previous episodes. But when the parents are disagreeing with each other about the child's mentally ill desire to transition to the other sex, which is of course impossible, but it's generally speaking, I have not heard of a single case where it's not so, but it would be the woman who will support the child's insane idea there, and the father will try to protect the child from that, and often leads to divorce, to very bad situations, and the father will sometimes be criminalized, be sent to jail, etc., etc. But I have not heard of a single case where it's the opposite way around. I hate to say it, but that is the case. And that women, for some reason, we have gone down this, had this discussion before, and I can kind of... it's a long discussion to have, but women are much more manipulatable by these types of ideologies. And so when we are infiltrated by an enemy within, and, they've indoctrinated and programmed and manipulated our minds now for a long, long time, it's the women who succumb to that mind poison. That's the way it is. Sorry to say it, but it is.
Well, I agree with you. Ladies who disagree, you should pipe up and let us know. I doubt if many do.
I would love to.
No, this drills back as well, doesn't it, Monica, into that show we did about a year back or whenever it was, why women should not have the vote. It's not about picking on women. This is about really empowering women to become women again. Yes. And I know that there's still out there that there are women like yourself and many here listening who are women. They get a big tick in the box from me. Absolutely right. But there seems to be a sort of subset of really lunatics. They've been conditioned, and they must have been. It's got to all come from your original home life. And if you look at it, I guess it's a whole series of events. If we were to go back to a family in 1926, 100 years ago, nobody anywhere in the West was talking about this crap at all. Nobody. Until Magnus Hirschfeld got rolling with his sex schools in the Weimar Republic and all that stuff. You know, my son came up to me, Monica, the other day. You'll be pleased about this. I mean, I think he sort of knew it, but he said, hey, you know, not that he was burying into this topic, it's just something that he gleaned. There you go. I used the word, Eric. He gleaned it from trotting around. And he said, I've just found out, he said, that all those books they were burning, they were all pervy books, weren't they? I said, yep. They don't tell you that. No, they're just burning books. Look at them. They want to suppress knowledge. No, yeah, that's not knowledge. That's a perversion. That goes against the law. That breeds a disease within the body of the entire nation if you allow that stuff to manifest. It's like a goiter. You've got to get rid of it.
I'm happy to hear that your son came to you with that little...
I'm a terrible father, Monica. I keep teaching them all this truth stuff. It's awful.
And then, okay, let's just fill in the missing part in the picture. Who did really do the book burning and, you know, of the good books and the history and the cultural and all these things? It was, I think it happened after the war was done. I don't know, that so many German actual good books of their history, of their culture, of just, you know, ancient stuff. German books were demolished, were absolutely, you know, destroyed by the so-called victors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as Orwell said, the surest way to destroy a people, I'm paraphrasing, is to separate them from their history.
Yes.
And that's all of the, you know, before you came on, we were talking about the World Cup, not because about football, but because of the arrangement of the teams and this destruction of people, and it being an aspect of that, a vivid one right now, because hundreds of millions of eyeballs are glued to TV sets watching this stuff. But it's a key part of it. I do think that so many threads are coming together quickly on this. There's been a lot of connective talk recently. People are going, I'm now hearing things, I don't know if you've seen it, Eric, as well, on certain YouTube channels. They're going, we really are in the shit. Good. Getting it now. You know, been waiting like, we really are in the shit. Absolutely. And because most people go, I don't want to look because I don't want to find out how deep in the shit we are. You've got to look. It's called being a grown-up. You've got to look, and I don't want you pulling away. You've got to see how bad it is. It's the only thing that's going to ignite some kind of motion inside our own people to discover whether they've got the will to act. And I know many don't. I mean, unfortunately, tragically, like these parents that allow their children to say, I think I want to be a dog. I mean, you go, obviously, love, you're mentally ill. And if you say that to me again, there's a cricket bat here and you're going to meet some truth through your backside. Because, you know, you go, oh, you can't do that to children. Yeah, you can. Because they're yours. Don't you own them until they're 18? Of course, the state says, well, we've come up with all these new rules. Yeah, who are you?
You know,
who are you?
I heard the last 10 minutes before the top of the hour here. So I caught the tail end of that and about, you know.
I hope we didn't put you to sleep. Football is a rather dull subject.
No, and that happens to be going on in, you're talking about soccer, right? Like, we call it soccer here, but it's going on in Canada, right? This is a big deal. It's a big deal here. But I have not been paying any attention to it. But what you say, yes. I mean, I think all these teams are made up of people that are from here, there, and everywhere. They're not really of those countries that they say they're of, right? I think that's what you were talking about. But anyway, about this, you know, pretending to be a dog and identifying as a dog, and now this kid has murdered its parents. You know, when we were children, I remember my little sister, like, children have vivid imaginations, and they'll have their play characters that are invisible little characters that they...
Well done.
And then they'll also pretend. They'll do pretend stuff themselves. Like, I remember my little sister, she was running around like a horse. She loved horses, and so she got really good at running on all fours, like galloping along in the yard, and it was just all good fun. Nobody in at all ever had some kind of a notion that, oh, she's identifying as a horse. No, nothing of the sort. It was just play. And then, then after a while that gets boring or whatever, and you do other things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that there are many people who have memories like that or can relate to that back in the day when none of this crazy stuff was going on, the tranny stuff, or I identify as a kitten, or I identify as a baby, like adult men wearing diapers because I identify as a baby now, or whatever. Like, this was, so what this has done is ruin some of that actual clean childhood play where they might pretend to be this, that, or the other thing for, playing around with their friends. Like, that's been ruined now, because now they're going to say, oh no, they like. Do you see
don't they, Monica? I don't know if they did it I don't know if they did this at school, but when you're very young, they do sort of acting classes, and sometimes they get you to act as a dog. We want you all now to pretend that you're a dog. Come on, everybody start. So they do that. Now we're going to be stuff. I'm sure there are little things to get people, or the little ones, out of their head and to engage more fully with their sort of creativity about things. But the people at the end of the lesson are, well, because I've just spent half an hour pretending to be a dog, I actually am one now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But it's not nuts. It's an attack. Nuts is not even the right word. It's an attack. It's being used.
Yeah. When you were talking about tolerance earlier, and that was before I came on, and I have this little, excuse me, I have a sticky note here because it's just such a good little thing. The 5 steps. The first is the plea for tolerance. The second is the plea for acceptance. That's one level up. The next is the plea for normalization. Yeah. That's another level up, or down, I should say, really, down into the gutter. The next is a demand for compliance. And the 5th stage is total conquest, you see. So that's, I think, this demand for compliance is for sure where we're at, or, total conquest. I don't know. I mean, look where we're at now with this, the LGBTQ stuff and the tranny stuff and everything, really. But I did hear you say this tolerance thing is I don't know what you said about it, but it was not good.
It's a disease. It's a disease.
Yes.
It makes you become diseased, because what it says to me is, if you're tolerating something, that's what comes after your initial value judgment, which is that you don't like it. Right.
Yes.
Your initial and true response to a thing, a situation, whatever it may be, is, I find this distasteful, insert whatever word you want here. I don't want to be around this. This is not acceptable to me. It's not that I'm offended. I just don't support this. This is dangerous stuff. We're not doing that. Right? I don't tolerate that. I don't tolerate people throwing grenades through my window yet. I don't know. Maybe I might have to. You don't know what's going to happen, right? I'm just being silly. But it's a normal, oh no. And then you get into this argument, oh, these people have got a right to throw grenades. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're interfering with their freedom to throw grenades. This is how it goes. You go, if you don't shut up right now, it's cricket bat time, right? Because people's minds get out of hand with all this stuff. They go, oh, I can just keep arguing this point from this sort of insane position. And there's no intent to actually come up with anything solid or valuable or contributive to the rest of the listeners. It's purely to disrupt and to destroy it. It's very effective if it's amongst a crowd of people that won't bark back at them. That's what's missing. And the bark is missing. And men, having been demasculated or emasculated or whatever the word is, right, don't bark enough. You don't hear enough barking male voices that are deep and have that tone in them. I mean it literally. That's what's needed to be. Everything's. If you listen to, I don't know what your news announcers are like now, right? But over here, most of the males talk like overly sensitive, highly enunciating females.
We don't have men doing the news anymore. We only have women, don't you know? Like, almost literally, all the newscasters are women now. On the CBC anyway, the Communist Broadcast Corporation. But I wanted to continue on this tolerance thing, because you talked about after you've made your initial judgment. Now, it did occur to me a little while ago that this thing called judgmentalism it has become a very bad quality. Like, we've been trained to think that you should not be judgmental, but to judge something that is actually necessary. You do need to make a judgment of, let's say, is this a moral act or an immoral act? Or you need to judge whether this is in good taste or in bad taste. Or you need to be able to judge someone's character based on whatever, their actions or how they are treating you, or are they telling the truth or are they lying? So to judge, to discern, I guess that's probably the word that would describe what I am talking about here, but that has been absolutely trained out of us, because should not be judgmental of that poor person over there, like that kind of thing. So that all goes hand in hand together, I think.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the word I like is discriminate.
Yes.
I do discriminate. If I doubt, the time I stop discriminating is when I'm no longer alive in this realm.
Thank you. That's excellent what you just said. And,
well,
and that's
likewise,
really,
Monica, because you're on the ball. It's absolutely spot on, is this stuff.
Yeah.
And they've trained us out of using these words. So, you see these companies advertising, we run a non-discrimination policy. What, you don't think? Is that what you're telling me? You don't actually decide things. You're doofuses. There are certain constraints placed upon you, how you're ever going to be effective. And this is actually borne out. There's a guy that actually specializes in taking short positions on companies that announce a woke policy. In other words, they put their discrimination aside and say, we're running a DEI horseshit system or whatever it is, right? And he says they're going to tank. And they do. He's making an absolute fortune.
Wow.
They absolutely tank every time because it's deranged. And it is, if you want your business to be successful. If you want to destroy it, it's perfect strategy to do it. Get on with it. If you're going to destroy it, I'm going to make hay while you're going down in stock price. I'm going to take short positions every time. I'm going to mop up.
Right.
Too right. That's just illustrates the point, doesn't it? But I also think some of it, and I can't prove it because I don't have the quote in front of me, but I actually think that bit in the Bible is wrong, where it says, don't judge lest ye be judged. They're always marshalling that one out. It doesn't say that. I've seen it originally, as far as I understand it, it initially said, judge wisely lest ye too suffer bad judgment. That's the gist of it.
That's probably exactly right. Perhaps in the translation and all the rewritings and all that, that's been slightly tampered with.
I would expect so.
I'd love to ask my friend Pastor Dan. He used to go by Pastor Dan because he talks about all this stuff and how this.
I know Pastor Dan. I did a lot of work with him about 12 years ago. Yeah. He's a good friend of Eli's, isn't he?
I think so. And we've communicated a lot. And funny thing, somebody had just sent me this video from 2018 while I was in the chicken shack, as Frederick Blackburn likes to call it, in jail in Germany. Alfred was on a panel, and Pastor Dan was on that panel too. And I had not known that they had ever been on the same panel, that they knew each other from that. And there were a few other people on that panel, but they, oh gosh, now I've lost my train of thought, but it all had to do with this. But just this biblical interpretation, different passages. And on that panel, there was also somebody who was not at all a biblical, like they were more following the pagan, system and the early sort of pre-Christian European, but they had a wonderful discussion about all that, and that we need to come together based on race and not be fighting each other, because there's a lot of that in among our people, the Christians fighting and bickering and quarreling with those who do not call themselves Christians among our people. And boy, I've sure taken a turn in our conversation here, but it's an important
That's good.
thing here.
We were talking about this the other day. I love this stuff. This is you're right in my ballpark with this stuff. I think this is very important.
To not be quarreling about those things. We need to come together racially. And see, Pastor Dan, he said some very wise things in that. I just started listening to that panel from 2018, and they started out, the first 20 minutes was about exactly this, like that the quarrels happening among our people. But Pastor Dan said, all of this is actually racial in the Bible. That's what he knows how to interpret those passages in the Bible that others will completely misinterpret, and has led to our racial demise. So
he's right. There are people listening that don't agree with this position at the moment, and I completely understand that. It's a difficult one to come from, but I think, when we talk about quarrels and arguments, they're interesting, aren't they? Quarrels and arguments. What's actually taking place? I'm always trying to sort of filter it down to see if I can understand it. I don't mean the content of the argument. I mean why what we call an argument is taking place. And it seems to me, in part, it may be the greater part of it, that if it's between two parties that are discussing excitedly a point, let's put it that way, right? One of them has got a lump of knowledge in his head, and the other party, she doesn't have that, but she's got a different set of knowledge in her head, or what she assumes to be knowledge, and he has got what he assumes to be knowledge, and the two don't agree. The lumps of knowledge in the head don't agree. It seems to me that the challenge is, particularly with regard to this topic and to Scripture, is can it be read and understood? Because it would seem that it can't. It would seem that all people read it with a different emphasis, and they come out with a different conclusion. And I think this is where I get cross with organised church systems, because they emphasize the bits that amplify human power through church systems, and in so doing omit the actual truth that's in the thing. So that most of the people involved in these things are actually, in my view, pursuing a big hobby. It's a hobby. And I mean all of them, because if you're not nailed on with a crystal clear understanding, if we accept that words have definite meanings, and we can't build a civilization if they don't, and what do cultural Marxists...
Hello? I lost you. Hello?
Are you there, Monica?
I am, but I lost Paul, or we lost Paul.
We've lost Paul, yeah.
Okay, well, we can carry on.
Yeah, we can carry on, yeah. That's it. I mean, let's face it, I don't think these people are voted into power. I mean, when you look at what's been in Canada, it's an absolute disgrace. And they're just going further and further. And I believe these people are selected. They're not voted in. It's all a complete and utter con. And I've come to the conclusion recently that the news is a pantomime to take your mind away from the situation that we are being screwed financially. Because I don't know what the taxation system is like in Canada, but in Britain it's horrendous.
In other words, have I gone again?
You're back.
You're back. Yeah, you just disappeared. And whilst you're gone, we were saying rude things about you.
Yes, we were.
Yes.
We were just saying, oh, and you know what else Paul did? And
yes, that's right.
No, we weren't. We were being
I think he's gone again.
Oh, he's gone.
I think he popped in just to say that, and then he popped back out again.
And it was overly loud in my ear. I don't know if that was just me, but anyway.
Can you imagine, though, that our parents' generation tolerating what we're putting up with now?
Oh, gosh. You know, Alfred and I once did a show together, and the theme of it, or the title of it, was basically all the things that we disagreed with our parents with, but they were right on. And so we went through a slew of items that, Dad especially used to really just come down hard on, especially Alfred, about stuff in our youth, and we were just in total disagreement with Dad, especially. Mum was not really involved in some of those discussions or quarrels, shall we say. And then later in life, we think he was right. They were right about this, that, and the other thing.
That's right.
You know, one example, and it kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier on about this tolerance and all that stuff, acceptance, the LGBTQ stuff, and the children trannying and all that. Well, so my dad, he was very upset when homosexuality started to become something that they were really just at that first stage, like, you know, we should be tolerant of that. We should just be tolerant of that. And I used to have these arguments with him about that. And I said, oh, look, live and let live, love and let love, like whatever. It doesn't bother us if these people want to love somebody of the same sex, like what, you know, whatever they do privately, that's up to them. But little did I know in my youth that, no, that was the first stage in this five stage, then the last stage of which total conquest, and where we are now. Right. And boy, we had big, heated arguments about that, but he was absolutely right.
Yes. And I'm frightened it's going to become compulsory, actually. You know, it's almost getting like that. It's going to be compulsory.
What's compulsory?
Homosexuality. Well, I'm frightened it's going to become compulsory because it was illegal, and I mean it really put your back out and put my back out. You know, I mean it's
Stop it, Eric. Outrageous. Didn't Dave Allen used to tell a joke about that, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah,
he did.
He said, "Well, what happens? It's been very gradual. You see, up until 1967, it was illegal, and then you got a fine. Then you didn't get a fine." And gradually it's come along to a point now where it's going to become compulsory. So his mate said, I'm leaving the country before it is. You know?
To either become a homo or a queer, whatever, or to tranny, become a tranny or become this or that. Like, I mean, even just with this, a straight white male is the most discriminated against by all our systems. Everything is discriminating against the straight white male, and yet they still call it, oh, white privilege. You've got white privilege. So, you know, what are you complaining about? Yeah. So everybody else will have advantage over the straight white man. And that's what we are already.
People that are demonic say, what's normal? They question what normal is. And they say, you know, you're putting down guidelines of what is normal. And to which I've actually spoken to a person like that. I said, well, okay, then why don't you just urinate in the street? And they said, oh, yeah, that's okay. What? And this is their mentality. Wow. You know, what is normal? So, it's, and I said that as a sarcastic remark. I didn't expect the response that I got. Oh, yes, okay.
Well,
to urinate in the street in front of everybody.
This is happening in Canada already on the beaches and everywhere, because we have a lot of people coming into this country that are coming from places where it is normal to defecate and urinate wherever they are.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was in my local town last year, and it was about this time of the year, and there's like a piece of greenery, very small piece of greenery, and there was a chappie there with his trousers down, defecating in front of everybody as they're walking past.
Yes.
As if, you know, and it's, I suppose at least he was next to a litter bin. I suppose that's one.
You needed to push him over and into it, but then you'd have probably gone to prison for 10 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. You would have, not him.
Well, he's next to a store called Wick's DIY, which is a bit like, what is it now? What would be the equivalent of a big hardware store? So I suppose it was a DIY thing he was doing. No toilet, so he's decided to...
do it yourself.
Do it yourself, yeah. Do it yourself toilet. But this is the thing, you see, we lack self-respect now. And that self-respect...
Well, the guy shouldn't even be living here, should he?
That's
precisely.
Right.
And
if they want to do that, that's fine. If they think that that's the way to carry on, that's their place, isn't it, to do it? But not in our home. But of course, it isn't our home. We've got to get really clear. It's not ours. We're not in charge of it anymore.
That's right.
Currently.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you there. I'm terribly sorry. But do you remember the spate of the agony aunts with Dr. Ruth going into the most explicit details of what people get doing behind closed doors? It's none of my business. It's none of her business. It's none of anybody else's business. And where is the self-respect? When you had famous people talking about having intimate relationships with people, I don't want to know if they're entertainers. They're there to entertain, not tell us about their intimate life in the bed sheets. I don't want to know. What is it? I mean, did you have Dr. Ruth in Canada?
Yeah, that name is familiar. Some kind of a sexologist or whatever. But you see, Eric, what we were just talking about, though, that's how they got us to do this tolerance and acceptance thing. I remember Trudeau Sr. saying the state has no business in the bedrooms of the nation, but this was all tied in to let's become tolerant and accepting of the gay, the homosexual lobby. So there's a little bit of a problem here. I don't know how you want to how do we resolve this? What you just said, because in essentially, I agree with you that these people shouldn't be blathering on about what they're doing in their their intimate.
It's private. It's nothing to do with. I mean, I don't want to know. And I'll tell you something else. I mentioned this earlier. We have a government department called the Home Office. In this, they've probably got similar in Canada and America and that.
Yes.
And apparently, I haven't seen it myself, but according to Godfrey Bloom on the internet, there's 3 flag poles outside. 2 of them are empty, and the middle one has got a pride rainbow flag on it. That's what's wrong with this country.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you've got rainbow clouds in, flags in Canada.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Why should you be proud
of sidewalks and all that stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, why should you be proud? So what? Who cares?
Well, they've taken away the beautiful rainbow now because you're afraid now to even wear something with those beautiful rainbow colors because you're afraid that, I'm not trying to promote your perverted lifestyle. So that's what they do with so many of our beautiful symbols or a beautiful descriptive words like gay. Gay is a beautiful word.
Happy gay.
I actually knew a woman, her name was Gay when I was little, and she was older than me. So now I don't even know if she's alive anymore. She was quite a bit older than me. So that used to be a beautiful name for a woman. Would anybody in their right mind give their daughter that name now?
Yeah.
So they've ruined some really good concepts, images, and words by perverting them and giving them the opposite meaning. The most perverted stuff is now the rain symbolized by this beautiful rainbow.
Well, it's going everywhere. As an infant school near where I live, they've got rainbows all over the windows.
As a symbol of beauty, right?
I don't know, but there's actually a pride bus, which is a bus that people use, which is painted in rainbow colours. It's called Hertfordshire Pride. We don't discriminate. So what? Who cares? I couldn't care less.
Yeah. But anyway, back to our, the Trudeau Sr., when he said that, he wasn't saying it in the same context as you were saying this about not wanting to know what's going on behind closed doors. He was saying it in a completely different context. He was kind of at the beginning end of this, let's tolerate the homosexual agenda. Next would be acceptance and then normalization and compliance and conquest, right? So this was a bad thing. So that's why I'm saying, Eric, this would be a big philosophical discussion to have where these are like 2 opposite viewpoints, but I do get it, what you're saying. But he was using that I guess that's the thing. He was using it in a very nefarious way. This very sensible statement that you made, it is a very sensible statement. I don't want to know what's, your somebody's sex life, what they're doing in their private moments. But so he was taking that, and everybody would agree with that, right? We don't want to know everybody's private life, but he was using it in a nefarious way, you see?
Well, another thing, why is it? It's like children sniggering when they first discover sex. Why isn't it about going to the lavatory? Like Diarrhea Pride Month or something like that, or Constipation Awareness Week. Or Flatulence Awareness Day.
Come on, Eric, you can be cultural attaché. You can be cultural attaché. We've got to get these things. You know, as you're talking about these things as well, I'm thinking, I know we mentioned it a bit earlier, but the book burning, right? That's what we've got to do.
Yeah.
We've got to do what it's in a different form, but that's what's got to be done. And I think also the other area really to attack on the sort of, and I do mean attack because they're attacking us.
Yes.
Is the courts. The courts have got to be exposed as being the fraudulent plaything of the Bolsheviks, which
You're
is what they
absolutely
are.
Right. The courts. Did you say the courts? Is that what you're saying?
The courts is absolutely, because it nails a key part of their operating system.
Yes.
I mean, you know, so the stage goes bank, pervert the politicians. Soon as we got that in place, influence the politicians to take control of the courts through our money. Done. That's it.
Yeah.
Now you can't get redress of grievance. And in other words, and when we express these highly ethical grievances that we've got, they make sure that they don't come to a court, or if they do, and it's not a court anymore, it comes into a space that they completely control. And therefore, you as the layman are intentionally befuddled, bemused, abused, mocked for being an idiot, for not understanding the code that they've written for their perverted system, which they have the temerity to call law. It isn't. It's an abomination. And it's, you go, oh, it's only a little thing. But that's how they get you. They get you on the little things. And it's, you know, going through those 5 stages you were talking about, which were excellent, Monica, and I'd like you to send them to me. I love stuff like that, those 5 points. Yeah. They're just getting you to accept it's okay. It's only a little thing. No. And if you hammer it at the little thing, the big thing can never take a hold. And that's, you know, but they've kept our people very, very busy.
Yes.
You know.
Well, my father was right on that. He was right about it, not to even, you know, let that first stage happen. But we didn't understand it when we were young. Mm. My friend Kathleen Dudley would know very well what you're just talking about the courts. Yeah, she went through some big things in court, you know, 5 years straight of battles in the courts, and really learned that the courts they're not actually what they tell us in grade school that they're all about. You know, it's you described it very well. I'm not going to speak any further on that, but than to say, yes, you're right. They are an abomination of justice. They are not about justice. I mean, the only thing I can speak to on that is that if there's an issue which you cannot speak about, and then you cannot even speak about it in court to explain how you reached your conclusions, then there's a big problem. And that's exactly what happened to Alfred and me.
How is Alfred? Is he still where?
Yeah, I should tell you, I did want to give you a little bit of an update. There's not really anything brand new to tell you about, because he still is in the prison system there in Germany. And if he was just finishing his 10-month sentence that he was given from the Augsburg jurisdiction, that would be over soon. Like, then we'd all be celebrating, because that would be over by July 7th, which is coming up right around the corner in less than 2 weeks, I think. But nobody really believes that they're going to release him on July 7th, because he is simultaneously there on remand, I think they call it in English, in U-Haft, Untersuchungshaft in German, meaning that he is still awaiting trial on a new set of charges. And they, you know, served a 53-page document on him with, I don't know how many charges, I think 22 different charges for stuff that he has said in videos online, blah, 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 you know, just they've been following everything. And they have not set a trial date yet, but they did, you know, put him into jail just on on remand, right? So there's no way they're going to release him on July 7th, because the reason they picked him up at his home last time was because, this is so serious that we're afraid he might run away, right? So anyway, he's in good spirits. He's still the tailor. He calls himself the tailor boy in prison, and he's enjoying that work. Like, he's working with the sewing machine, fixing up prison clothes and this type of stuff. And he gets twice a week in the fitness room. I guess that means doing weights and stuff like that. And of course, every day there's the 60 minutes of fresh air in the courtyard. And he's very busy right now preparing his defense, but he does not call it a defense. Let me just find the note where I wrote all this down for when I talked about this last. He's saying it is a response to their calling him a heretic on, this certain narrative of World War II history that you're not allowed to question. All right. So I don't have the piece of paper in front of me, so I might be getting the words a little bit off, but that's how he describes it. He does not want to play in their sandbox and to call what he's doing a defense, because that sounds like, he's backed up in the corner. No, he is preparing a statement, you could say, preparing his statement to counter their accusation or an answer to their accusation that he's a heretic.
A rebuttal.
So what?
Is that what he's
He's a
writing?
heretic. I mean, what gets me? They let rapists walk the streets, and they let.
Yes.
I mean, the crime rate in this country, I don't know what it's like in Germany and Canada, but it's almost off the scale.
Yes.
And it really does bother me sometimes. But if you say something hurty word on a social media, the police will be coming around quickly.
You're
What's
right.
happening? I mean, it's just
Lawfare. It's lawfare, Eric.
Yeah, that's a good word, lawfare. It's a very good word. Yeah, but it's a law unfair in many ways because innocent folk are going to jail for almost anything now. They can pick on you. It's
and the real
frightening.
criminals are set free.
Yeah,
onto the
this
street.
is what Stalin did, isn't it?
Yes,
he let the criminals go free, so all the rapes and things like that went through the roof. So whilst people are preoccupied with that, they're not noticing what the government is doing, totalitarian government is doing by clamping down even more. And this is what Starmer's done. So, and the next chap, who's going to be the next Prime Minister, will be exactly the same as Starmer.
Yes.
Exactly the same. There's no difference. That's the thing, it seems that Paul's gone again.
Yes, he just dropping in, dropping out.
Dropping in, dropping out. That's life, isn't it? Anyway, there's a heat wave here in Britain.
Oh.
39 degrees outside.
Oh, my goodness.
Today.
Do you have
It's
a
quite
lake
hot.
nearby or a stream
No.
that you can jump in?
No. And I was repairing my neighbour's car after another neighbour modified it for him accidentally with his car. And midday, boiling hot, and there's me with a stone hammer bashing 9 bells of out of the wing of the car, or fender as you would call it, knock it back into so it's drivable. Poor chap. I felt sorry for him. He's the innocent party. And I don't know, insurance is probably as bent in Canada as it is over here. Is it the same in Canada with insurance? It's just a rip-off.
It's horrible.
Insurance.
A lot of people, if they just have a minor accident, they don't want to claim it, because if they did claim it from the insurance company, then they'd be paying through their teeth because their rates would go up.
Yeah, that's it. So you just, this is what I've been trying to do, get the car back on the road for him.
Okay.
Because we got a maniac neighbour that, you know Star Trek, that they went at warp factor 5 and things like that. Well, my neighbour drives out of the road at warp factor 5. You just see a blur of his car, and he went smack straight into my other neighbour, wallop. But so far, this phantom driver of a neighbour, he's killed 1 cat and modified 2 cars down a small cul-de-sac. Yeah. But, that's life.
You know what? I just came upon something really disgusting. I had always heard the difference between the pride flag and the natural rainbow is in the pride flag, the colors are inverted. The violet is on the bottom instead of on the top. And
really?
also, the colors fade from one color to the next. There's not a hard line between the colors. But if you were to to search Google or really anything for natural rainbow flag, what you come up with is there are 150 different accepted types of pride flags that all mean different things. So not only have they taken the rainbow, they've taken the flag, and they've corrupted every single iteration of the rainbow to completely obliterate the original beauty that God made. I'm pissed.
Yes.
That's
I
so
agree with you.
interesting what you say. Wow.
But what flag are they
There's
going to have
100
for Flashing Lights Awareness Day?
Yeah, there's 150 different pride flags. And there's a YouTube video. It says 150 pride flags and what they all mean.
You're
And it's
kidding. They
20
all mean
minutes of
something different.
bullshit.
Wow.
Yeah, they all mean something different. So they've completely obliterated the fact that God made the rainbow and that it's a thing of beauty.
Yes.
Well, they've got rainbow crossings now, and we've got a rainbow bus. I live in Hertfordshire, and it says, what is it? Hertfordshire Pride. Pride in what? You know, unbelievable.
Paul came back
be
just to take us
hilariously-
out.
Yeah, am I back? Right,
Yes,
I bet it
you
all
are.
starts
Yes,
working
you're
now.
back.
Yeah, I've been kicked off. Half of the show's just not gone out, I'm afraid. You weren't to know that. But I've had about 20 cut-offs, about 10 in the last hour. So the reason why I kept disappearing, and there was nothing going out, there's nothing I could do about it, I'm afraid.
We're just chatting
yeah,
among
so that was...
ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's just an absolute disaster here at this end. That was the worst show ever, technically. It was a great show conversational-wise. We got some really great stuff in there. But
So if
someone's
a
arsing
person-
about with me.
Okay, if a person was to listen to it, what would they hear? Blanks, or would it just shorten it?
Yeah, it was silent. It was just silent for the last 5 minutes again, because every time I've disappeared from the studio, my internet has stopped, but it hasn't. It's just the streaming. Everything else works.
Oh.
It's just the streaming has been cut off again, and that's what's been kicking me off. So I don't have a recording of this. Actually, I do have a recording of this show, Paul, in about 25 parts. Seriously, and I'm not stitching it together again. So this one's probably going to go down the drain, I think. Yeah?
As soon as I publish my copy of the strand, the only thing that will be actually blank will be like the 10 minutes of the first time you dropped out when I was still backstage.
Okay.
So
I'll edit that down tomorrow. So, yeah, there's not much I can really do about it. Actually, there is. I'm just going to... Let's see if I can put us back in and just say goodbye to everybody for 5 minutes, because although they're probably all gone and legged it now, and I can't say I blame them, but it's just been impossible to maintain the connection ever since everything started going really bad. Let's just see if we're going out now. Let me just see if I can get this going. We are. Hi, everybody. You might as well... we're on air right now, just to let you know, guys, here in the studio. I don't know what's going on this evening. It's nothing really at my end, because I've had internet all the time, but the stream part of the system has been continually interrupted and kicked off. So my apologies for that. It was out of my control. I've got a few ideas of more belt and braces for next week, which I should be able to get in place to sort of avoid this in the future. But I want to thank Monica, so we're just wrapping up here officially. Monica, I just want to thank you for being on the show. It's been great, even though it's been a total cock-up, technically, but you didn't know anything about it. Some great stuff. I just thought there were some fantastic conversations tonight. It was really good and energised, and it's just been one of those things. So that was really bad. That was really, really bad. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I don't know if you guys want to say anything to them. We're just saying goodbye to them. It's all a bit lame here at the end.
That's all right.
So there we go.
If it was never really, really bad, then it would never conversely be really, really good.
Yeah, there is that.
Well, it's let's face it, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes,
thanks.
thank you,
That's really good. I feel really good about that, Eric. I know, mate. I know. It's a pain. Listen, I'm going to play the music out here, and then we'll do it properly, okay? So
I just want to say I really enjoyed talking with you guys, even if it was just in our own little living room here. our own.
I love it every time, Monica. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. For those of you still listening on FFT, our apologies for the past hour, really. In fact, earlier on, so I don't know what's been going on. It's more than the heat. We had a lot of interference last week, and we've had loads this week. Last Friday we did, so who knows? I don't know. I don't want to get overly paranoid, but it's a bit odd. Everything's been stable for weeks and weeks. The minute I go live, everything goes a little bit pear-shaped. Very, very strange. Thanks for listening. If you could bear with it, I doubt it if you could. We're going to try and put the recording together, so we'll get the podcast out at some point, probably tomorrow. And we'll see you all again same time next week. Thanks, everyone, and bye for now. Keep good.